everybody. Welcome back to Fear Given and Rethemed. We are your host, Sean.
And Casey. And we are back at our TransWorld episode. And today we are going to be talking about the classes and the seminars that we attended while we went to TransWorld.
They are aplenty.
Yes. So the first one we're going to be starting off with is our Chaos class, our Fire and Safety Seminar.
Yeah. What does chaos stand for?
Hold on, I have to sneeze.
That was chaotic.
Sorry. So chaos stands for Certified Haunted Attraction Operator Safety Program.
Good job.
Yeah.
How much does chaos cost?
So chaos cost, you have to be an HAA member.
You don't have to.
Oh, that's true. I guess you don't have to. But if you do want to, then it's $50 for an individual. We've talked about this, but if you haven't listened to our other one, what?
How much is just chaos the class?
Oh, just the chaos class.
Yeah, the 4-hour bulk part towards chaos certification.
Oh, I don't know. $35.
Are you just acting like these notes don't even exist? So, all right. I'm taking over from here.
I'm looking at a different one.
So
this is what you get for making me work late nights.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So, yeah, we're recording the first TransWorld episode and this TransWorld episode back to back.
I'm
so you get a whole day's break, but we're going to go ahead and get them all done tonight. So the chaos course itself is 4 hours. Chaos certification requires 8 hours of classes in order to get your full certification. So for HAA members, it is $20 per person. For non-HAA members, it's $75. So the reason we became HAA members was because of this chaos course. $20 plus $50 for each of our fees is only $70. So we actually saved $5 towards chaos by becoming members and registering for this class.
Everything counts.
Everything counts. $5 is $5.
$5.
So I am now fully chaos certified. I finished the 8th credit hour online. They have one class if you're an HAA member that you have access to. You watch the video, it's like an hour long. It's about youth safety and something.
Yeah, which I have not had the chance to do that
Yeah,
yet.
it's a really incredible video. Talks about different forms of abuse and extra considerations you need to take into account when you have youth, anybody under 18, working at your haunt.
That's literally stuff that I do at work. So.
Right. So for you, you'd be able to breeze through the exam.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't super difficult, but aside from chaos, we have, 11 classes on here?
Yeah, I think so.
11 classes. So most of the classes are about $55 per class if you pre-register, and that's per class per person. $65 if you wait to register on site. They also have seminar packages. They have an ultra package where you get access to all the seminars. I think it's limited to the first 250 to 500 people. I don't remember the cost, but I think it's $500 or $750, something like that. We did not get that. We each got a seminar package for $250 a piece, and that allowed us 5 classes a piece. This does not include chaos. So chaos is its own course.
But we only
and its
spent
own cost.
$40.
Right, $40 total. And then they also have free daily seminars that are either exhibitor sponsored, exhibitor hosted. And they have specialty classes that some go towards chaos certification if they are by HAA members, and then some do not, but they're still super cool. We did a mixture. So the first class we'll actually talk about is Chaos Fire and Safety Seminar. It's the 4-hour course. It is geared towards Haunted Attraction Association. You don't have to be part of it to take the class, but there's no reason not to be, in our opinion. We've talked about the Haunted Attraction before, but it includes a number of staff memberships, discounted seminars, including this one, access to Haunt Network contacts, scholarship offerings, legal advisory board access, access to apply to their Top Haunts program. listed on Haunt Finder, which is an online resource to see other haunts in your area that you want to visit or attend, their seasons, all that stuff. They give you license to use pre-recorded trainings and videos, access to their crisis support team 24/7 through the months of September and October, so peak haunt season. Depending on your tier, some of these items may not be necessary or available for you. So we have the lowest tier, we have the individual membership, maybe moving to home or charity haunt eventually. Love to be able to skip that tier and go straight to the smaller professional haunt. But you want to read us the summary of the Chaos program?
Sure. So the CHAOS program, again, it stands for Certified Haunted Attraction Operator Safety, is the HAA's safety certification course that is recommended to anyone running a haunted attraction. This 4-hour fire and safety seminar is mandatory for certification. Safety liability concerns, fire marshal issues, and proper methods of building a safe event are keys to this seminar. The seminar also covers tragedies that have affected the rules and laws that now regulate haunted house entertainment and dark attractions today. Individuals must complete 8 hours in order to receive full chaos certification, so 4 additional hours and credits and seminars are required. Once completed, you will receive a chaos course completion certificate to show your fire marshal, insurance carrier, and local authorities to show your desire to run a safe haunted attraction. So each person must attend the 8 hours individually, and hour credits cannot be shared or combined between the staff or the same attraction and different individuals.
Yeah. To be eligible for the HAA Top Haunts program, at least one staff member must have current Chaos certification. And that certification lasts for 3 years. Several insurance companies in the industry offer discounts for owners operators with up-to-date Chaos certification. All previously issued Chaos certificates will expire after March of 2023 if you had it previously. They're ramping up to recertification processes online so that you don't necessarily have to attend TransWorld. They're also trying to offer Chaos certifications for the bulk 4-hour course more locally if possible. It's difficult to roll out across the country because that's typically an in-person thing.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. It's really difficult to put 4 hours on camera and have somebody actually focus and pay attention.
Right.
Your dedication and certification in the Chaos program helps your event and our industry strive to be safe, proactive, and responsible.
Yeah, so I would really suggest this for everybody because after taking this course, it's very you kind of get scared and you're like, oh, am I doing everything that I need to do right?
Yeah, there's so much that can go wrong. Why are you in this industry? Is there a right way to do it? And there is.
Yeah, so the speakers for this seminar were Jim Werner. He's the vice president of Haunted Attraction Association. He's also the operations manager and coordinator at Pennhurst Asylum in Spring City, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And there's also Brett Molitor. He's the former president of HAA, and he's the owner at Hysterium in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Yeah. So
what were your big takeaways from this?
I think what we can do is we can ping pong back and forth because I've got a list and you've got a list.
Mm-hmm.
Cool?
Okay, cool.
So my first one was they really stress the importance of building a relationship with your code inspector, whether it be the building code, fire code, really doesn't matter. Anybody that has to inspect your attraction or facility, don't pick a fight with them.
Right.
Just listen, learn, and ultimately they're the ones that can shut you down or help you stay open.
Yeah,
you need them on your side.
Right, treating inspectors as people, basically, and creating a friend in them so that you have an easier relationship moving forward.
Right.
Yep.
What you got?
That's what I had.
Okay. When they inspect, it's important to be show ready. Don't expect them to come and you have nothing powered on. They want to see it in show setting. If they request other than that, or they want to see it in a different aspect, maybe they want to see it with just certain emergency lights on. They want to see it where just, I don't know, if just audio is running or just lighting. Either way, they get to make the call as to what conditions they want to see, but be ready to have it show ready if they ask for it. Don't expect a 30-minute power on process to work with their schedule. When they come, be prepared with all documentation and with a dedicated team during the inspection so that when the inspector goes, hey, that light bulb's out, it can't be out, that needs to be rectified, you have a team there that can go, hey, you need to replace that light bulb. I want, when he comes back through, for us to be able to go, you marked this, 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 and this, and these 3 out of those 4 are done. Mm-hmm. Because then they know that you're proactive. They know that you're listening. And you can probably call them before their visit and say, you know, what is it that you want to see when you get here?
Yeah.
Have that conversation, pre-plan with them. If it's your first year and they have no idea what to expect, give them a tour.
Yeah, show them everything.
You know, giving them free stuff also doesn't hurt. You're not...
Yep. Discounted tickets or free tickets for their
right.
family or
You're
whatever.
not, what's the word? Bribing them.
No.
You're just giving it to them. You're not saying, well, here's a free shirt if you let us open.
Right. You shouldn't
be
saying
that. Like your haunt,
right.
they will probably wear your shirt or they will come to your event because if they approve it,
or
they want to see, right, if it's a safe enough event, they're going to want to go, most likely. Or at least give your name to somebody else. Hey, you know, I checked out this place. It looks really cool. I can't wait to see it when they have live actors.
Right.
What you got?
Yeah. So another thing is having emergency voice communication. So a lot of, I guess, guests won't be able to have the ability to tell the difference between a show alarm and an emergency alarm. That's also why house lights are important. So once they do come on, people will know it's not a part of the show, obviously.
So what's the difference between house lights and show lights?
So show lights are more like, you don't have headlights up on the ceiling. Show lights are all of the colorful lights and all of the
anything theatrical.
But a house light is, you shut all of those colorful lights off and you have like just normal lighted.
Yeah, imagine it like when you go to a theater or you go to a show, like a Broadway show or concert or whatever, and they take an intermission and the whole room brightens up. That's house lights.
Or if you go to a movie theater and
before the movie starts,
you
they
have
house lights. You can move around.
Right.
You're not supposed to, in those environments, you're not supposed to move around in show lighting.
Right.
For haunts, you do, so it's a little more dangerous.
Yeah. So having the emergency voice communication, simply stating like, this is an emergency, this is not part of the show, please listen to our instructions, and being able to train your actors and staff to become emergency chauffeurs. So either they take off their masks, they hold their arms up and announce loudly, hey, this is an emergency, this is not part of the show, I'm being serious. Like, some people will probably be like, oh man, that's still part of the show.
Yeah.
No, it's like...
And when you're designing your attraction, don't make your show that.
No, absolutely not.
Make a very clear distinction that this is reality versus this is a show.
Yeah, because people can get seriously hurt and you will be sued.
Right. And this is a weird tangent, but it reminds me of Tribulation House.
Yeah.
When we go through that, that's super realistic to where if they had an emergency, I would not be able to tell the difference.
No, absolutely not.
So that's past the line for me in terms of running a safe attraction or environment. I know it's short term and I know it's not the same as this, but it kind of is this. It's a themed attraction. Did you have anything else on that a little bit?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Another thing, know your life safety codes. For people that don't run haunted attractions, this probably means nothing to you, but people that have looked into it, NFPA 101 is the main life safety code. There are also applicable state licensing codes, local code amendments, occupancy classifications, and capacities. Imagine when you get into an elevator and it says, this elevator is only rated for 4 people or 5 people or a certain weight rating. Occupancy codes matter. Building codes, fire codes, all of those matter. So anytime you walk into a haunted attraction as a guest, we often take that for granted and we assume that the attraction we're walking into is a safe environment if an emergency happens. That's not always the case. Inspectors can only isolate certain issues when they do inspections. So it's really the haunted attraction owners and operators that are responsible for knowing those codes, knowing their emergency action plans, knowing what's safe and what's not, and implementing that on a daily basis.
Yeah. And going into like the fire part of it, like make sure everything is fireproof.
Yes.
Use class A fire retardant basically.
Mm-hmm.
And you can spray everything
Yeah.
except for like costumes obviously,
You don't
but
have to.
You don't have to, but you should use fabric that is intended for fire safety.
Yeah, and not everything that's commercial, like commercially bought, is fire retardant. So just because you buy that cool $5,000 prop, that doesn't mean the vendor's responsible for the fire protection part
Right.
of that. That's
Do it
your
just in
responsibility.
case, you know.
Yeah. Worst thing you can do is over fireproof something.
Right. And then you also, what I learned, which was, I was like, oh, I would have never guessed this, but make sure your fireproofing materials are not expired or frozen. I think somebody
Yeah.
had left out, somebody said they left out one of their things and, it froze overnight or whatever. And
But they didn't think about it
They
until
didn't
the
think
next
about it.
season.
Right.
And they just reused old product.
Right. And so make sure it's a new product and it's
Yeah.
actually working.
And fireproofing chemicals, not cheap.
No, they are not.
But they are worth it. And I didn't know that you're supposed to fireproof everything annually. You may even want to do it more if you're a year-round attraction. I don't know.
Right, because the more wear and tear you have on your attraction with people bumping into things and
Yeah.
maybe people touching things and stuff like that.
Environmental changes will
Yep.
probably affect the quality and the quantity that it goes. We so going back a little bit, we do not have house lights in our home haunt currently, or we did not this past year.
No.
Most of our building was, well, let's put a flashlight over here.
Ours is not safe
let's put a
at
lamp.
all.
Yeah.
Let me
So,
just specify that.
Going forward, I do not feel comfortable doing a home haunt in this space
No.
unless we really work towards becoming safe. But that was before we took this class. Now I have a
Right.
completely different appreciation for that.
Oh, this could go up
What
in
we
flames.
did do
We
we did fireproof all of the internally built walls.
I know. And you know what? When we were doing it, I was like, do we really have to do this?
Right, you complained the whole time.
I
And I was
know.
like, no, we really need to do it.
It was good
Whether we
practice.
did it well enough, I don't know. I also think that the paint we used had fire retardant in the paint as well. So kind of a double whammy that we did get right, kind of. But overall, no. Our home haunt was not safe. We are well aware of that.
Also, when you're doing this, don't allow your children or your dogs or cats around you.
That wasn't even fireproofing.
I know,
chemicals.
but I'm
that
just
was spray
saying.
adhesive. But yes,
I know.
our dog had an allergic reaction.
Yeah, poor thing.
Kind of.
Couldn't stop sneezing.
All right. Did you know?
And wear a mask when you're doing these things.
Yes. Imagine that OSHA is actually paying attention to you as a home haunt.
Yep, I'm OSHA.
You are OSHA, even though I like to stand on spinning stools as ladders.
Oh my god, I hate that.
So building fire dynamics. Do you know what the Do you know what the leading cause of death in fires are?
Yes,
What?
asphyxiation.
Can you spell that without looking at your notes?
Ooh, A.
Yep.
S.
Yep.
P.
Yep.
H.
Yep.
Y.
Yeah.
X.
Yeah.
I.
Yeah.
C.
No, so close. Xiaation.
Xiation.
I was going to do a big loud buzzer, but I thought that was a little rude. So, yes, asphyxiation can cause loss of consciousness and death in minutes.
Minutes.
Not prolonged hours. No, like you maybe have 5 minutes sometimes, depending on your space, before the entire room is engulfed and you are unconscious on the floor, cannot control anything.
Right. But like when an alarm goes off, you leave. Don't check to see if there's a fire.
Right.
Because flames can build within 60 seconds. And so you need to think of the fastest way to exit the building.
Yeah, and that phase of denial of, is that smoke alarm real? That really just equals delay. So every second you're thinking, is this real?
You want to talk about an example of this?
Yes, I do.
As soon as we
So I
got
have a
out
few
of the
examples.
class?
So they used to do fire alarms at work all the time. Sometimes they would warn us, sometimes they wouldn't. I would say 50 to 75% of the time, it didn't matter whether they were warned or not. Nobody went outside. There was one time our building director or maintenance director came through and he was like, hey, does anybody know why that alarm's going off? we're all sitting at our desk going, I don't know. We were going to ask
I
you.
don't smell any fire.
Right. Well, let me go check it out.
Or I
Hope
don't
it's a
smell
false
smoke.
alarm. Nobody moved.
That's
All right.
sad.
So that's an example at work.
Yeah.
Not good.
No,
I
not
had
good.
not taken this class at that time. Now I would exit the building because
Yes.
I'm not going to be that guy.
Right. That
Two,
guy.
we went to dinner the night of this class with some friends in St. Louis.
Yeah.
As we had gotten up and were leaving, had paid our check and everything, fire alarm starts going off.
We're
You
like,
want to know how many people stood up? None.
4 of us.
Bartenders were leaning against the back of the
I
bar
know.
going,
They were shaking
"Do
their
you think
head.
that's real?"
Yeah. They were
So
like,
we're
whatever.
already
This-
on the way out the
It's
door.
like, this happens all the time.
Right.
I'm like, wait.
So
but
as
what
we're
if
walking down the street back to our car or hotel,
Mm-hmm.
3 fire trucks go rushing past us back towards the restaurant.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was.
It was a
wasn't on the
restaurant.
news.
It was a restaurant below some
Apartments.
apartments. So I think something happened in one of the apartments. But still, like, if
Yeah.
there's an alarm, leave.
Yeah, just even if it's fake, what's the worst thing that happens? You look like an idiot because you listened to an official alarm? You're not an idiot. You might be the smartest person
Right.
in that building.
Right.
I have a fun fact for you
Okay.
that you already know.
Oh.
Did you know that smoke is combustible?
I didn't before
I did
this
not either.
class.
This was nuts.
I know. I was like, wait, smoke can get
What was it? It was a flash, second flash or something. Flashover.
flashover.
Yeah, it was a flashover when the smoke could burst into flames.
Yeah.
Did not know that was possible.
I know.
But it
that's
makes sense when they
crazy.
explain it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, what you got?
Also, in regards to safety and everything like that, also have weather warning announcements. So, like, especially if your queue is outdoors, you want to have that available, especially if you're in like Florida. So because or a place where tornadoes can just pop up. You want to have that weather warning announcement already ready so that you can get people inside as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Also good to have an active shooter plan. If it's in your budget to hire security or a guard, that's better. But always still have an active shooter plan because that is just the world we live in today. Also using safeguards, so don't allow bags, have metal detectors or wands at your place. I really like when I go to a place and they have that because I feel safer going into the haunt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel safer knowing that you checked,
Right.
basically, So
On that same token, when you have your HR guide or your employee guide, use that as a chance to do initial trainings, but don't stop at just the initial trainings. Go and have maybe mid-season trainings just to kind of refresh your team.
staff.
Throughout the nights, don't only focus on incident reports of actual things that happened. You could also do near-miss incident reports. So at Halloween Horror Nights, there were people posting on the groups in the Dr. Oddfellow house, hey, as soon as you go into the house on the right, there's a table that has a sharp corner.
Yep.
Me and the group behind me both bumped into that corner of the table. We think this is a problem. Maybe you guys didn't think through that. You can put a chamfer on the table. You can remove the table. And when we went through the event, between the tour and the event that night, that table was gone.
Yeah, because we were going to mention it during the tour,
Right.
but we didn't see anything wrong. So,
No.
But yeah, if you see something, say something.
Right.
I mean,
It just because an incident doesn't occur, if it possibly occurred, then you know the potential is there. So might as well include that in your documentation and say, we knew that this was a sharp corner on a table. On this day, on this hour, we took that prop out, so that when a government or a lawyer comes to you and says, hey, my client says that they rammed into that table. Okay, well, we don't have any incident report from that night, but what we do have is a near-miss incident report. We don't have any documented accidents, but we know that that was a potential issue. We didn't know it at that time. When we found out about it, we removed it. We took corrective action right then and there.
yeah, because you do not want to get sued.
No.
Always have documentation. If you own an escape room, always have the host or game master go through a brief safety process. Just like when you go anywhere and they're like, all right, we're going to go through a brief safety process, blah, blah, blah. Do that. I mean, don't get
Yeah.
annoyed when people have to do that because they're
Even
just
movie
saving their own
theaters
butt.
do that. The first
Mm-hmm.
thing we saw at AMC this
Yep.
past week was, where are your emergency exits? You
Right.
need to know them.
Always. And you should always look for this, anyways, especially
Yeah.
knowing the world today. An active shooter could happen at any time.
Hmm.
Anything could happen at any time. So you just need to be aware of. I am always hyper vigilant of like, okay, where can I exit? Like,
Yeah.
what's a
How do I
good,
escape if
yeah,
something?
what's a good escape plan? Just because I'm just paranoid.
Yeah.
Um, but and also always ask how long is it going to take for the patrons to exit your facility. You
Hmm.
don't want it to take. You want to have multiple exits, and
Yeah.
you also want to have exit shepherds, so like
Hmm.
helping people get out safely.
Yeah. The good rule of thumb is everybody needs to be able to get out of the building in 2 minutes or less.
Mm-hmm.
That's how quickly people can start to become unconscious and potentially have, like, you can have death within 2 minutes within a fire.
Yeah,
It's not unheard of.
and it's not just from asphyxiation; it's also from crowd surge
Yeah.
and being trampled.
Yeah. So
And yeah,
one of the case studies they talked about specifically was the Station nightclub fire in 2003. Do you want to tell a bit snippet about that, and then I'll talk about a book that mentions it?
yeah. So it was I guess it was just a nightclub that was having like music. So it didn't look like a very big club. It was pretty small actually. But they had, I guess, really bad like sound compliance or sound ordinance rules or whatever.
Really
So
strict.
what they did was they put a lot of foam on their walls, and obviously foam and fire do not mix.
Super combustible.
So what they had on the stage was
Pyrotechnics.
pyrotechnics. Not great.
No.
So those things went off.
Minutes into the show.
Yeah, and you could see just fire just already just scorched the wall behind, and then it just grew from there. And the reason why this is on camera is because a news reporter was there, I guess,
Yeah, they were
covering the
going to
scene.
do like background shots,
Yeah, or whatever.
so they just
So they
happened
were,
to catch
yeah,
a good bit of it on
and
film.
you can find this on YouTube, I'm sure.
It's really traumatizing.
It is. It's
Video.
very scary. It's sad to watch because you're watching the moments like before people like die. Like the crowd
Yeah.
surge is awful because they only had one exit and
Mhm.
everybody was running through the exit at the same time.
Yeah.
And then people died from either being trampled or they died from inhaling smoke. So
Yeah. So there's a book that we just ordered that they talked about during this chaos training. It's called Trial by Fire: A Devastating Tragedy, 100 Lives Lost, and a 15-year Search for Truth. It's written by Scott James. I'm going to read a couple of bullet points about the book, but it details this station nightclub fire. In only 90 seconds, a fire in the station nightclub killed 100 people and injured hundreds more. It would take nearly 20 years to find out why and who was really at fault. All it took for 100 people to die during a show by the hair metal band Great White was a sudden burst from 4 giant sparklers that ignited the acoustical foam lining the station nightclub. But who was at fault? And who would pay? This being Rhode Island, the two questions wouldn't necessarily have the same answer. Within 24 hours, the governor of Rhode Island and the local police chief were calling for criminal charges. Although the investigation had barely begun, key evidence still needed to be gathered, and many of the victims hadn't been identified. Though many parties could be held responsible, fingers pointed quickly at the two brothers who owned the club. But were they really to blame? Best-selling author and 3-time Emmy Award-winning journalist Scott James investigates all the central figures, including the band's manager and lead singer, the fire inspector, the maker of the acoustical foam, as well as the brothers. Drawing on first-hand accounts, interviews with many involved, and court documents, James explores the rush to judgment about what happened that left the victims and their families, whose stories he also tells, desperate for justice. Trial by Fire is the heart-wrenching story of the fire's aftermath because while the fire, one of America's deadliest, lasted minutes, the search for the truth would take years.
yeah, so sad. It's
Yeah.
probably a really good book.
Yeah, so it should be here this week. I'm excited to read it. I think it's going to be a very heavy book, but I think it's going to make us appreciate making a safe attraction.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, there's our timer.
Let's finish going through chaos. We only have a few bullet points, and
Okay.
then we'll pick up at the second class after the break.
Okay.
What
So,
else you got?
so also a good point is staff should also be trained to limit sharing details without permission. So, if patients know about safety procedures, they can go around them. So,
Yeah, it's
you want to
similar to
make
like
sure.
identity theft. I think a
Yeah.
common term is social engineering.
Okay.
So there's a book about that. I forgot the guy that started that, but it's basically if I wanted to get details about a person, I can call them and be like, "Hey, my name is so and so. I'm calling from whatever board."
Yeah.
It's basically one big scam. It's social
Hmm.
engineering. It's using people to your advantage um, for information that you're not supposed to really have.
Right. Also, adding in zip ties to rope cues for easily breaking apart if needed.
That was cool. I never
Yeah.
thought about that.
Give your staff authority to stop all lines when possible threat arises. So
Mm-hmm.
you might have a kid that's, just got hired. And something happens, they're like, oh, it's not my job. I can't. No, give your staff authority to do that, whether
Yeah,
they're,
empower them.
yeah, empower them to take full control of all safety measures.
Yeah, worst case scenario, the attraction stops for a minute,
Yeah.
but for good reason. Worst case scenario, or best case scenario, he stops it when an actual event possibly could have happened.
Right. So yeah, that's a lot of safety measures, but they're very important to have, and yeah,
Yeah,
those were
and
our
we
big
covered
takeaways.
just the highlights in 30
Oh yeah.
minutes. This was a full 4 hour class
Oh yeah.
that
It's a good
neither
class.
one of us fell asleep. This was a
Oh no.
lot of phenomenal information.
Yeah.
So
Really
let's
enjoyable.
take a break.
Alrighty, we'll see you back soon.
Welcome back. Just kidding. We're 30 minutes into this episode.
who's gonna who's gonna like go forward 30 minutes? Oh, I don't want to listen to chaos. That's
Who
stupid.
knows? Somebody, I'm sure. So the next two classes we're going to talk about, Casey and I took separately. I took one called Howling Wind and Crashing Thunder, the tools and techniques for creating amazing haunt audio. And you took Make Your Guest Experience Legendary, delivering an incredible visitor experience every time. So
Yeah.
I will go first.
Okay.
For my class, the speaker was Jake Farmer. He is the assistant director at Dark Hour Haunted House in Plano, Texas. If you are trying to keep track of all the people, Dark Hour, we've talked about before, it is owned by Alan Hops as of within the past year. Big hero of ours. So I really wanted to attend this class because I love mixing audio and I love creating our own music and audio for our haunt, some of which we've played during the break. So the summary of this class is as follows. The audio in your haunted attraction shouldn't be left until the last minute. Be thinking about...
Good lord.
Sorry, my bad. Be thinking about audio during your design phase. Don't even know where to start? Have no fear. This Back to Basics class from industry veteran Jake Farmer will get you familiar with everything you need to know so you can implement audio into your haunted attraction. We'll talk about simple design theory and also go over various options and solutions for those who are dipping their toes into the realm of haunt tech for the first time or are working with a limited budget. Audio might seem intimidating, but it doesn't have to be complicated. So this one really did take you from the basics of what if you just had a CD player and you needed to rip music onto a CD, if you're still using that, all the way up to they use a QSC QSys system for their haunt. So it's in 3 huge like tower racks that are like 6 to 8 foot tall, and they have all of their power conditioners, their amplifiers, all of their network components, all within these 3 racks. They have a huge system. They have, I think, 50 plus audio zones, and he has an iPad that he can go through the entire haunt and custom mix the volume, the levels, the different audio tracks, all from a computer in the back, and mix them more specifically in each room remotely through the iPad. So some of the bigger takeaways, without getting deep in the weeds, was try to use audio as a way to hide pneumatic noises or squeaky joints. So one thing that bothers me a lot whenever we go through pneumatic props or the big animations is when you hear that takes me completely out of the element. I feel like I'm in a factory, and I
Yeah.
don't feel like that's the feeling you want to give to your guest. So really easy to hide that with audio, whether it be kind of a big shocking audio to overpower it right when the movement occurs, or just a louder backing track that's more used for ambience. He talked about sound being done in four different layers, in four distinct layers. So going from largest to smallest, they use global audio or global speakers, which are very high up in the ceiling. They have kind of a huge warehouse. So for them, it's the biggest and highest speakers in the sky. That plays that underlying sound of thunder, police sirens, helicopters, things that affect the entire haunted attraction. Going a little lower, they do isolated ambience. So that's specific scene audio that match the style, the visual aesthetic, the tactile elements. So maybe if you're in a garden scene and you see or you see beehives, you're probably going to want to hear bees. So hear the bees
Mm-hmm.
buzzing. Maybe you're in a library or a study and you see a record player. Maybe you want to hear that distinct record player sound. Maybe it's skipping. Maybe it's doing something else. Either way, you want something that matches your specific scene. And those speakers are a little lower. They're room specific, so they're at least below the wall height or the wall threshold. Diving in even more, they have special effects audio. So that's more of the triggered audio, whether it's guest or actor triggers. When you're walking through Halloween Horror Nights and you see one of their scare actors pop out, typically you hear glass shattering is a really common one for them. You hear a cannon, you hear a gunshot maybe. All of that is special effect audio. It's typically triggered stuff. Could just be a beam sensor that you walk by and maybe you hear a tiger growl, but the tiger doesn't actually move. It's a good way and a cheaper way to feel that movement and hear it rather than to actually have to see it through an animatronic or something like that. Diving down a layer deeper is physical sounds that aren't pre-recorded. This is typically actor-driven audio. So maybe the actors are yelling. Some of the higher name haunts, such as Halloween Horror Nights, they have pre-recorded for pretty much all of their actors so that they can use the same actors each night. They're not losing their voice. Maybe some of their smaller, or some of these smaller haunts. A big joke this year was, what can you say to scare people other than get out?
Mm-hmm.
Or God can't help you here. That was another one I saw today online that people are making fun of. Um, so actor-driven audio would be that non-pre-recorded sound. Could be handheld sirens, could be a clown horn, really anything that's not electronically driven. Within each of those effects or each of those audio sources, you want to match the vibe of your haunt. Maybe you go from kind of a slow, creepy graveyard up to a factory with a chainsaw. They're going to be two completely different vibes. One's going to be slow, creepy, maybe a lower volume that you really have to focus in order to hear. The other one is super fast, super chaotic, super loud, in your face. You hear it no matter where you go. But you're matching what you're feeling, and you're almost using the audio to feed into what you're supposed to be feeling, similar to how you would see in the movies. It's really obvious to pinpoint when movies do it wrong, but if it's done right, typically you don't notice.
Mm-hmm.
Also, mixing your own audio isn't as difficult or expensive as it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
We typically use GarageBand for podcasts as well as all of our haunt audio. They use Audacity. There are other mixing softwares out there. You can create your own using stock audio files. They have royalty-free sites. There are sites like pond5.com. There are other sites, or another thing that we did is we have a scene that has a few different wind chimes.
Mm-hmm.
So we went in, put a mic in the room, did each wind chime,
Oh, it's fun.
and then just kind of mixed all four of those together
Yeah.
so that we could add them as ambience, but you're inside, so you're not gonna have those wind chimes actually moving.
Right.
So we had that as a very subtle nod in the room before, a little further distant, and then we had it in the actual room a little louder.
Yeah. I think audio is something we do really well because of you.
I
And I
think
think,
we have a huge potential to do it better, though.
oh, yeah, for sure.
I
We
think we
always
have a
do.
good starting point,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to get better at it.
Yeah.
I think the sky's the limit.
Yeah, sure. I said for sure, not sure. Yeah, sure. Whatever. Okay.
And I mean, it was an hour-long class. Those were just the absolute highlights.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't want to bog down with all the other technical stuff. People that
Yeah,
don't care,
mumbo
but that's the
jumbo.
stuff that you can see as super relatable in other haunts that
Right.
you go through.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to talk about make your guest experience legendary, delivering an incredible visitor experience every time. This seminar was by Amy Holloman, the regional manager, and Brett Bertolino, director of special projects at 13th Floor Entertainment Group. The summary of this course was poor customer service is no joke and it will negatively impact your bottom line. Every interaction a customer has with your staff has the potential to impact their experience positively or negatively. Everything your customer sees, hears, smells, tastes or touches at your event impacts their experience. Improving guest satisfaction will lead to increased length of stay, repeat visitation, and ultimately increased revenue. In this seminar, Brett and Amy will reveal the strategies that have proven successful in delivering an exceptional visitor experience at some of the largest Halloween events from coast to coast. So this was a really cool class that I took, and the big takeaways for me were just learning to develop professional tools, ensuring the quality by developing best practices. Um, and I thought it was really cool that they mentioned that you should lead by example when hiring. So this might not necessarily pertain to like uh, the guest experience, but it actually does in the long run because you're hiring people who want to work, who want to stay there at your haunt. So making sure that your website is easy and user friendly. So if you're holding auditions and interviews, make sure you have onboarding training, and especially training in onboarding like a group meeting or whatever on opening night. And then you also want to allow your applicants to trust you and feel comfortable. Most of your young applicants, or I'm sorry, most of your applicants will be young and it might be their first job. You know, everybody wants like, oh, that would be cool to have my first job as at a haunted house.
Hmm.
I know in high school I had a bunch of friends who were like, yeah, I work at a venture haunted house or whatever.
That would have
So
been cool.
yeah,
I have a question for you.
sure.
Your first big takeaway was develop professional tools. What does
Mm-hmm.
that mean? Any specifics on it?
Oh my gosh, you were like the student that like.
Why don't? That's like saying
So
be polite.
I think what I meant was these are the professional tools that you need to develop in order to deliver that guest experience.
Okay.
So the things that I'm talking about.
Okay, that wasn't
These
its
are the
own thing.
professional tools. Yeah.
I got you.
So also motivating your team, so giving them purpose, set goals for them, revisit them throughout the season, make it tradition, and allow staff to picture themselves as guests. So everything speaks, every detail from senses to appearance, appearance. So you want to experience your attraction as a regular guest would. So go use the bathroom, walk the queue, just go. You know, I know when we started here, I was like, I want to go through the rooms and just
Yeah.
pretend like I'm like a guest. You know, just like walking through and making sure everything like feels okay.
That's something that Disney does really well. They're
They do.
constantly monitoring what does the guest feel like.
Right. You also want to set proper expectations for your staff. So consider using uniforms and costumes. They also mentioned having your vendors and staff represent only the attraction. So you want to promote your product. So if you have hats, shirts, whatever, make sure that they're wearing that so that they see, you
Yeah,
know,
they're
for
not their
one,
own brand. They're supporting your event.
right. So for one, they know that if they have a question, they can come to you and ask for it.
Hmm.
Also, anything out of theme will pull your guests out of the experience. So imagine if a staff member has on like a football shirt or whatever. That's kind of weird,
Or
you
like
know?
people working in Fantasyland have bright black shoes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of this from working at Disney, and I think we know, and that's the whole thing I was thinking about when I was in there. I was like, this is so close to Disney
Yeah.
standards.
The
Like
funny thing with Disney is they're they have to maintain this literally 24/7
oh
in
yeah.
so many different areas. So
Mhm.
I joked about the black shoes in Fantasyland because when you get hired, you get kind of fitted for specific branded work shoes
Mhm.
for ergonomics. Like their biggest thing is burnout. So they want to maintain that. Can you function? Can you do your job? Are you comfortable?
Mhm.
Um, the costumes aren't always comfortable. Most of them are. I enjoyed them.
Yeah, they weren't bad.
But the
Mine was.
shoes, if you pay attention to the shoes throughout Disney parks,
Yeah.
they are all very, very similar. And that's for continuity. That's for probably contractual agreements with the vendor of the shoes.
Yeah, it's also safety because
Right.
when
Big thing is safety.
you're working on
Non-slip.
yeah, non-slip and you're also on your feet like your whole shift basically.
Yeah.
So making
Character
sure that
performers,
you're
all the way to food and
Mhm.
beverage, merchandise, attractions, all of it.
Yeah. Also having clear, concise signage, including for even for staff and on the behind the scenes areas as well. Having a rules sign near your title sign. A lot of people will have that. They have like the big what are those called?
Did you say rolls or rules?
Rules.
What are you saying?
Rules.
Okay.
Is it my accent?
I don't know. I keep hearing
Rolls.
rolls, but I know
Rules.
you're saying rules.
Rule. I don't know how else to say it. Rules. Rules.
It almost sounds like you're doing a Jersey accent to say rolls.
Oh my gosh, let me talk. Yeah, so wayfindings are extremely important.
What is
Oh
wayfindings?
my god, you're killing
Listen,
me. Did I
for
ask you
us,
any questions while you were doing your spiel?
I would have gladly welcomed it. I'm just saying we are familiar with these terms. Some people may not be. What
Sorry.
are wayfindings?
Wayfindings are signs. So like you see a sign that says the zoo this way, or you're gonna go see the bears this way, or you're gonna go see
All right, I was
or
just asking, all right? Don't
or
get
an
so
ex-
defensive.
or an exit sign. Okay. Also, make sure your staff knows how to answer generic direction questions like "Where's the bathroom?"
Very Disney-esque.
Yep,
What were those things? Telecast?
yep. Oh, I love looking through the telecast.
You know, I was going through boxes of our stuff the other day, and I
Mhm.
have the telecast from the week that we met.
Aw,
Yeah.
that's sweet.
Because they would come out on a weekly basis. Yep.
Yep. Also, being rude is not scary. So visitors want to have fun and be entertained, but they don't want to be yelled at, basically. So
Unless
don't
you're
be rude.
going to, what's that place at Disney?
Oh gosh. Oh, that's true.
The one in Hollywood
50s
Studios?
prime time.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, they're pretty rude there, but they are known for that. I mean, obviously, if you're gonna go to a haunted house, being rude is scary is like their whatever. Then yeah, sure. Actor stalking is not okay.
Nope, we saw that at the Darkness, kinda.
Yep, didn't like it. It was
Nope.
very cringy. Makes people feel very uncomfortable.
Yep. It's not an excuse to follow the cute girl that comes to your haunt.
No, sorry. It's just not professional and
It's
it's not
creepy.
okay. Don't allow your peeps to do that.
Nope.
You want to under promise and over deliver,
Always.
because most people want more, so they're willing to spend money on food and drinks. So like, I know if I go somewhere, I'm like, are they gonna have food there? Are they gonna have drinks? What are they gonna do? Do we have to go eat dinner before? Do we have to wait after? You know,
Yeah,
you
and
want to
have that on your site. Don't make it a guessing game before you get there. I'm just saying, you don't have that there.
I do. So just, you know what? Just go away.
Listen,
Just kidding. Okay, y'all think I'm probably being so
Yeah,
rude. I'm such
yeah,
a
and they are right.
listen. It's
I thought we said no tangents on this episode, huh? No rabbit trails.
you know what? I am not in a great mood
Oh,
this week. I have a lot on my mind, and I'm just trying to get through this. Okay.
Little violin music. Ah. This is abuse.
So to have all inclusive tickets, so you want, depending on how, you Stop.
How inclusive your attraction is.
well, that, but also how much money you have, available to discount. But anyways, so like having your haunt, but you also have games food and snacks bar, like have a haunted speakeasy, including entertainment. So if you have like magic, dance, or music, basically this is called the festival model. So a great uh, reference to this is Fear Reach Scream Park. They
Yep.
had everything from kids to
They had a live band
they had a live band and a
next to
little
the bar.
bar. And they had an area where you could just chill out away from all of the craziness, for older folk that
The
just want to.
smallest part of that was the merch,
Yeah, for sure.
but still great.
Yeah, so they had a bunch of stuff that you could do. So it's a good way to gain additional revenue, and also broaden your audience. And you want to create a map of everything you offer, just like Halloween Horror Nights has, so that you know before you go, and also put it on the website, like what to expect, tips, information, website
Yeah, that's
FAQ.
what I said.
Y'all don't know the look I'm giving him right now. And just to make your attraction kid friendly also. Um, I know that's like hard to do sometimes, but
Have a
it
kid-friendly version or section, I think.
yeah, I think so, so that you can like, trade off or whatever with your spouse, and
Yeah.
so that the whole family can enjoy it.
Yeah,
And
find a way to introduce horror and haunts
yeah,
to a kid.
yeah.
Have like a behind the scenes, like, hey, if you want to help control this puppet, or maybe you have an interactive, like a spray portion, and they
Hmm.
can go behind this little door and hit a button. Make it a family friendly type thing. Maybe not all of it is family friendly, but I think there's
Right.
a way you can do it
Yeah.
in selections.
Yep. So those were it was a pretty cool class. Like I said, it was right up my alley with the whole Disney thing. And the Disney was my first job, so I think I got a pretty good training on guest experience, and I take that still with me today,
Hmm.
no matter what job I have. And so yeah,
Yeah, good class.
yep,
I
good
didn't take it,
class.
but sounded cool.
Whatever. You wish you took it.
I really enjoyed my audio class, but you're right. But sadly, these were at the same time, so we can't go to all the classes together. Next up is safety is always number one. Best practices in safety for haunted attractions, the Pennsylvania way. The reason it is specifically the Pennsylvania way is the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture is the first state to have a standard for how haunted houses can safely operate.
Hmm.
So most other states that are trying to develop standards often use Pennsylvania as like the standard best practice, best measures to pull from. So typically, if you can get approved to run a haunted house in Pennsylvania, you're pretty much good everywhere.
And they said, I said we're gonna move there, and they were like,
Don't move there.
"Don't move
We have
there.
enough.
We have enough." So I'm like, "Dang."
So this was one of the seminars that went towards an hour of our chaos safety certification. We took this together. The summary is as follows. Safety is no joke, and anyone in the haunt business understands how many critical steps you need to take to get to... Sorry, scratch that. We're going to start over. Safety is no joke,
Do you need me to talk?
and anyone in the haunt business understands how many critical steps you need to take to get open, operate, and take good care of your staff and customers. Topics include fire safety, building codes, staff training, crowd management, and understanding the types of insurance you need to have in place if disaster strikes.
So this is basically another like. It
This was way
has
less
this-
interactive.
Yes, but it also has the same pretty much information as we went about the chaos certification, the
And
fire and safety. So
It shared one of the same speakers, Jim Werner, Vice President of HAA, also Operations Manager and Coordinator at Penhurst Asylum in Spring City, Pennsylvania. He is also a former captain of, I want to say the fire department, maybe it was EMS services,
Yeah.
or emergency medical services. I guess that's just EMS.
Mhm.
The other two speakers for this class were Randy Bates, he's the owner of the Bates Motel and Haunted Hayride in Gradyville, Pennsylvania.
How does he have a haunted house called the Bates Motel? Isn't that like copyright?
No idea. Couldn't
Huh.
tell you.
Interesting.
It might be public domain. I'm not sure.
I
Don't
mean,
quote
his
me on
last
that.
name is Bates, so maybe
So maybe that's how.
maybe he's in the family.
Maybe. The
kidding.
third speaker was Jim Schaff. He's the owner of Field of Screams in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
You know, it'd be really. Never mind.
What? No, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
No.
Okay. Do you know what is something that I thought about a lot before this, and I never really
Okay, I do
heard
want to say
anybody
it.
address it. All right,
So, I heard Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and what if you had like a
an Amish
yes, an Amish
haunted.
themed haunted house? That would be so freaking cool.
Yeah, I feel like
Would that be like bad?
I don't think so. It's just paranormal activity next of kin.
Oh, that's true. That's
Like
scary.
that can be creepy. Are you popping your toes like Cody and Satori?
No, stop. We
Um,
don't. No, we're not even going to go into that.
Okay,
They don't pop their toes.
we don't know that for sure. Until we experience it, we are neither cynics nor skeptics. If
That's
you
all
follow
I'll say
Sam and
about
Colby,
that.
they did a YouTube series on the Conjuring House. Cody and Satori were um, facilitators of that tour and exhibited a
Just
technique.
look up knocking method.
Yes, they did a knocking method. We have not met them, so it's hard for me to form.
Okay,
any
we don't have to
real
just
thoughts.
look up.
Well, I don't want to make
guys, just look
inside
up
jokes and then
knocking
never
method.
explain it.
Just
So
look
yeah,
up knocking
Cody and
method.
Story knocking method, Conjuring House.
They can Google it.
Question for you, since you rudely interrupted me.
What?
So many haunts use smoke alarms or smoke detectors. We took them out of our home haunt because we had haze. And as soon as we started using the haze to fill up the rooms, they started going off, and that wouldn't work. So we took them out.
Yeah, that's
Poor
not a good idea.
I should have replaced them with something else. What should I have replaced them with?
I don't know.
There is a thing called rate of rise heat detectors.
Really?
So they work a little slower, but they're based on heat changes rather than smoke.
Oh.
So they are a better option when you're using fog or haze machines in a room or an environment.
Okay, noted.
Do you know where you're supposed to place exit signs?
In any doorway?
Above or below?
Above.
So both.
Below too?
Yeah. So
for
not
short
necessarily below the doorway, but like down to the side. No. So when you're on fire, what did they teach you in school?
Stop, drop, and roll.
Right. So what did they not teach you? Stand, jump up and down, and look for the exit signs in the air.
Oh, that's true.
So when fire builds in a building, when fire grows in a building, smoke raises to the ceiling first and then slowly encompasses the entire room volume and builds down. So the first thing that's covered up is these exit signs above doorways.
Oh.
So what you'll see a lot more now is down to the floor, kind of within the first 2-ish feet.
Right, so if you crawl,
off
you
to the
can
side.
see it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's not just for dwarfs or short people. It's because when you're crawling, you want to get low.
Or rats. Rats need to exit too, so they need to find a way out.
Yeah.
They're on the floor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, Cinderella. What do you have any thoughts on this class?
No, I'm really not taking this as a joke, people. I'm just being
No,
funny.
this one was a more specific from the 4-hour chaos course. So a lot of these are specific ones that I noted that I never really thought of. So the last one I've got for this is a single switch power supply that activates all the audio
Yes, that's
for
a
the
big one.
emergency procedures, as well as simultaneously powering off show conditions. So
That's a
you
good
want
idea.
to have kind of a single button or switch to power on all your emergency audio tracks, you know, the warning announcements, turn on house lights, turn on flashing exit sign lighting or pathway lights. Floor lights are a big one.
Yeah, because who wants to press 10 million different buttons
Right.
at the same
Every second that you're taking to remember what buttons to push off to
Yeah.
take off show conditions and then powering on emergency conditions, that's time wasted
Yeah, it's
and lives
delayed.
lost.
time? Right. True.
So that's all I've got.
Very important stuff, guys.
Gosh. So yeah, I thought that was a really cool class. What I didn't like was the first 30 minutes of the class, he read verbatim off the slides.
Bruh, I can't.
The chaos class was not like that. The 4-hour, it was like very, these are the bullet points, but I'm not going to read those. I'm going to tell you what I know, and it's going to vaguely match up with that.
Yeah.
So this was a little more boring until the second half,
Yeah, I
but
almost
it was
fell
a cool
asleep.
class. How much time we got until our next?
4 minutes.
How do you feel about stopping and taking a break now,
Yeah.
and then we'll come back to one of my favorite classes because you have a lot of notes.
Oh, I might not say all of them, but yeah.
That's okay. All right.
Okay.
Taking a break.
Taking a break.
Check. We'll be back.
Yep, we're back.
All right, what are we talking about next? Class number what?
5.
Nice. Hey, we're on page 15 out of 23 of our notes.
Nobody
We're
needs to know
slowly making progress.
All right, so this one is called. Oh, sorry. It is currently 9:42 p.m. and I'm exhausted. Carve out space in their heads using chemistry to make them remember you. Both.
To remember you both.
To remember you. So the summary of this, this seminar will show you how to make your guests remember your haunt, how you can use psychology and human nature to make sure that your haunt sets, story, and characters will find a forever home in the mind of your guest.
Who that speaker be?
Speaker was Alan Hops,
Who is he?
the owner of Dark Hour in Plano, Texas, and he's also the owner of Stiltby Studios.
What? We've talked about him before. Cool guy.
Yep.
Something that I did want to mention, and I don't think I put a note on this. When he started his class, he yelled, "Wife, wife!" And then he told the class that he's the only one that can call her that. That's why he doesn't call her by her given name. But that gets him in trouble when he's in public spaces and he yells, "Wife, wife," because then like 5, 6 people turn around, and then he has to filter through which one that turned around knows I'm talking to them. So he said it only becomes awkward when his not wives start coming towards him to answer him.
That's funny.
He also had her give him a 30-minute countdown.
Mm-hmm.
So the classes were like an hour. So he was like, "I want you to tell me when we're at 30 minutes, when we're at 15 minutes, and then when we're at 5. So he is like, if I had to relate a personality to me, it would be him.
Yep.
Because I'm making lists, I'm trying to do this and a million projects at once, and I want to be very, like, presentations, big deal for me.
Plus, you also go on tangents.
Yeah, I do. And he also does. But
yes.
His presentations are phenomenal. I love his YouTube videos.
Yeah,
he's exactly the same in both.
Yeah. He's funny.
So this one, I want to do a standalone episode on this topic. So we're going to breeze through the top level highlights. So we'll ping pong back and forth, maybe, kind of. I'll go first.
Go ahead.
So I wrote down one of his first kind of bullet points on his paper that he handed out was, are we in... Sorry, I keep burping.
Because
I'm drinking...
you take swigs of Mountain Dew.
Listen here, we all have our vices. Mine is Mountain Dew. So his first bullet point is, are we in the haunt business or the memory business? Memories are made by neurons or nerve cells and stored in a brain region called the hippocampus. They form when repeated neural stimulation strengthens synapses. Say that 5 times fast.
Nah.
The connections between nerve cells. So what can be done to solidify and cement a memory? So basically you want to set up a path for a memory, and then you want to constantly retrace that in some way or another. So like every time we go to Oakleaf, you want what to eat?
Chick-fil-A.
Exactly. But like in your head, you think Oakleaf, Chick-fil-A, or Oakleaf, Target,
Argyle,
Forest, Chinese buffet,
yep,
sweaters,
TJ Maxx,
Marshalls.
Yep.
Is there a Marshalls over there?
No.
Oh.
It's TJ Maxx.
TJ Maxx.
Home Good.
No. What's the...
Michael's, TJ Maxx,
Michael's
and
is what I'm
Joann's.
thinking. Ugh, we don't like Joann's. They hijack their prices way up, and then they discount it to where they're normal. Anyways, so this was more about psychology and making memories and how do you create those memories? How do you deepen those pathways in the hippocampus to make them replace things? So again, I want to do a whole episode on this, so we're just going to breeze through some of the highlights. A big thing that he talked through was using color in memories in order of memory capacity. So the most memorable is red, and then it goes to blue, green, yellow, orange, black, white, purple, pink, brown, and gray. There are also ways to use high contrasting colors, so like black and yellow exhibits a sense of warning. That's why they use it for traffic signs. There's black and red, which we use in our logo a lot. That's a really memorable combination. Dark Hour uses it in their logos and publication. Do you want to go through some of the specifics of the individual colors that
Sure.
you wrote down?
So blue would be like an authority color. So like you could use that for like your staff shirts or whatever. Green and pink are the most common colors.
So like Easter.
Yeah. Orange makes everybody happy because if you
It's
go
Halloween.
if you go through a haunted house, you love Halloween. Everybody likes orange. I used to hate orange. I love it now.
Our first house interior
Oh my
color was
God.
orange.
Because of fall. I wanted it to look like fall, but honestly, that was a big mistake, guys.
I think a
Don't
bigger
do that.
mistake was us not doing the drywall.
There was a lot of mistakes. I'm just going to
Yeah.
say that, but
Um, so when you're using contrasting colors and colors within attraction scenes, make them differently lit without a noticeable repetition. So if you have 6 scenes and you only have 3 different color lights, don't go blue, red, yellow, blue, red, yellow.
yeah.
Like mix it up a little, or you can even combine those in certain parts of the room to make different shadows or different color combinations, different effects, different just visual views or aesthetics. Aesthetics?
Aesthetics.
Jeez, I feel like I have a lisp. Yeah, not a list.
No, you have a list.
I have several lists. Variables that significantly.
Wow.
I cannot talk.
Yeah, we've been talking too long.
Variables that significantly influence how likely someone is to remember an event. It's a few different ones. I'll kind of breeze through a few of them. They will more likely remember an event if it evokes a strong emotion, whether that be anger, sadness, PTSD, something trauma related, something that you don't feel like is fair. So, like when you talked about the unborn baby dolls, that was something that to you triggered a strong emotion.
You know what this is all sounding like and
What?
points to? That it could help you with
EMDR?
EMDR.
I didn't read that
Therapy.
pamphlet that you sent me, but I trust you.
Oh my gosh. So basically, it's using like vibrations and sensory, like eye sensory, to go back to the traumatic event and what makes that traumatic event so traumatic.
That's kind of
So it's
what
reshaping-
11 did in Stranger Things.
Yeah, so it's reshaping your brain and your neurons to like make yourself feel safe.
We make a note and we'll cover that when we do an episode on this.
Okay.
Also, things like deviating from somebody's daily routine or what they expect during that attraction can make them remember it more. Memories also can occur during significant milestones. So if somebody comes to your haunt and they're celebrating a birthday, or Dark Hour is their big theme is 13 witches coming together to summon a spell to make it dark all the time. So part of that kind of goes into the solar eclipse realm. The solar eclipse is coming April 8th, and the main path actually crosses over Plano, Texas. So they're doing a big event surrounding the solar eclipse. Super memorable event in a lot of people's lives. I think it only happens every like 70-ish years. So most people will only ever experience that once in their lifetime typically. So they're taking advantage of that. When you have multi-sensory environments, we've talked about that a lot before. Haven't been to a haunt really that uses a taste as part of the experience. That would be interesting to see. Sharing the experience with others, kind of replaying, this is what happened. That's a big thing to help memories. What else? Unique experiences, experiences where it invokes your curiosity. So maybe it's like an escape game.
Mm-hmm.
You're curious, you're trying to go through different paths, new storylines. You can link the memories to an achievement. So have like a risk reward, an achievement. So again, escape rooms. You want to
Mm-hmm.
escape by that hour mark, you get a prize for doing so or whatever.
Oh
Um,
God! Did you?
what was that? All right. Um,
Something's in my body and trying to get out.
okay. When your story has a memorable climax, um, when there's a specific connection to a cohesive narrative, or when there's a memorable physical location.
I'm sorry. I really needed to drink something. I had a scratchy throat.
I'm done. All right, go do
No,
your
I'm
thing.
sorry.
What's your notes?
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of steal yours. So you also want to um use like top. Oh, he talked about top retail holidays. So it was Christmas, and then everybody guessed something else, but it was Mother's Day after that, and then Halloween, which I thought was so weird.
Yeah,
Having
apparently
Mother's Day?
Mother's Day is a
That's so
big
crazy.
retail event,
I mean, everybody has a mom.
except
Someone
for
has.
orphans.
No, they do, but they don't have
Do you
like.
think they buy for their moms or foster
Don't
kids?
make me feel bad. So, also, keep haunt fantasy based. The real world is scary enough.
I'm gonna steal yours. He called it a CNN haunt,
Yes.
where if your haunt uses too realistic a concept, so murder, kidnapping, fire, um, it kind of takes the fun out of it. You're basically just going through a tribulation house or a
Yeah.
real world event. And honestly, when
I
it comes
mean,
to
I don't know.
reality,
I like.
not a lot tops what's really going on in the world. It's crazy.
That's unfortunate.
Um, Also, something you can do similar to colors and lighting colors is you can make iconic silhouettes.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have very memorable silhouettes, backlit with a moon. Uh, do you remember the artwork that's in Splash Mountain on the way to the queue? They have silhouettes of Brer Bear,
Oh,
Brer
they
Fox,
do.
Brer Rabbit,
Mm-hmm. Well,
and they're
not
really
anymore.
well, not anymore, but
Sad.
um, that was something they
Tiana.
did really, really well. Was those silhouettes?
Yeah.
You can do it with iconic lighting and colors, so that it's backlit, and maybe when you see green, you think of the Swamp Witch. When you see
Mm-hmm.
red, you think of the Fire Witch.
Right.
To further highlight, you can use matching audio for those specific characters.
Ooh.
Um, that's not something we really did a whole lot of this past year.
So like Jack the Clown when they did silhouette and the
Yep.
one of the.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Um, you talked about that. The
And
biggest. You can go ahead.
also asking yourself like for your own unique or your haunt, what is it about our show that makes it unique?
Mm-hmm.
And so he kind of asked us that, and then like I had a lot to like write down, and I'm like, we actually have a lot of cool things that is like unique, you know what I mean? So it's just a good way to kind of look at your own haunt and see what you can do to make it as memorable as possible for um, your customers. So,
Yeah, and I think a lot of people when they go to haunted attractions, they think that the very first goal or the main goal of the establishment is to scare you.
hmm
I don't think that's people go to get scared.
you want to have fun.
You want to have fun. You want to finish the experience and go, wow.
Yeah.
So that was the big thing is as a haunt owner, operator, actor, part of the team in any capacity, your goal isn't just to scare your audience.
No.
Your goal is to make them say, wow, that was a good show. That
Right.
was a great experience. I want to share that.
Yep.
Um, Anything else for that? Did you start a timer when we
Oops.
came back to this?
You know what? I did not.
That's all right. We'll set one for like 15 minutes.
Alright.
We'll go from there. So next, we're going to go into the state of the industry. This was put on by the Haunted Attraction Association. It's something they do every year. They actually kind of made this more of a question and answer type of format because they posted a video, kind of a state of the industry. What is their 3-year plan going to be? They come out with that every 3 years. So 2024 marked the end of one plan and the start of a new one. This is Spencer Terry's last year as president of the HAA. After this year, Jim Werner steps up. He is the current vice president, so he'll step into the president role. And the big push for the state of the industry this year is continuing education, specifically with the chaos certification plan. So the summary of this, before I get too far, is join the Haunted Attraction Association Board of Directors as they quickly review 2023 and discuss 2024 concerns and insights with audience members. This is a must-attend seminar from small to large, indoor to farm trails, and hear what other haunters are doing across the U.S. and abroad, from marketing to safety to operational tips. It's always packed with content, information, and people, so get in line early and do some networking. Whether you're new to haunting or a veteran, do not miss this seminar to plan for your future. We did not initially plan to go to this event.
Nope.
It was a free event to HAA members. We really didn't have to wait in line, but they did have free coffee sponsored by Alan Hops from Dark Hour and Stilt
nice.
Beast. And this qualified for one of our credit hours towards Chaos certification. So between it being free and counting towards Chaos, it was a no-brainer that we should attend. And I thought it was more interesting than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
The speaker was mostly Spencer Terry, president of the HAA, GM and equity owner at Fear Factory, Salt Lake City. But the whole board of the HAA was there to answer questions. So Alan Hops is on the board. Niles Scream Park, their owner, is on the board. Jim Werner, all sorts of people from big name haunts. But Spencer Terry mostly went through a lot of the Q&A stuff. You okay?
Yeah, I heard something.
So the board is mostly meant to represent community, or is meant for community and representation. So like they mentioned in the summary, they have everything from home haunts all the way to Fear Factory, which is huge $500,000 budget just for their staffing. They're huge. The HAA is the kind of end-all be-all official association for haunted attractions. And they do their job to represent and to provide discounts whenever they can. Our closest representative within the HAA board is Alex Rodriguez. He is the operations manager at Fright Nights in South Florida. He started off as an actor, became a haunt director, and is now the operations manager. So he's gone from a pretty basic entry-level position all the way to, operations manager is nothing to frown at.
No, that's really good.
What type of takeaways did you have?
Not much. You've already said most of them. So we'll just go back to yours.
Okay. Sorry. So some
I can go if you want me to.
I'll take it, I guess, because you've got a class you took by yourself next.
Oh, great.
So one thing they talked about was how is AI impacting the haunt industry? Alan Hops, this was his big red wagon to pull this year. Out of everybody on the board, he was the one most apt to talk about it. So he uses ChatGPT to hone his ideas, not necessarily to create them. The whole concept around using ChatGPT and AI is using it responsibly. Not responsively. So don't make it a crutch to lean on creatively, but use it to maybe fine-tune your ideas. Use it as a backboard to bounce ideas off of. What would this look like? How can I maybe change this in this specific way, but I don't really know what I want it to do? So just using that and not using it and go, yep, let's publish that. You need to fact check it. You need to spell check it. Don't let it replace you, is the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Can it replace a lot of jobs? Absolutely. Is it going to eliminate all jobs? No. Not if it's used responsibly. You can use it to enhance your quality, is kind of best case scenario.
Hmm.
Another big thing that the HAA accomplished this year was discounted background checks.
Yeah,
So I
that
think
was
they
really
said
cool.
it was about a 50% reduction
Yeah, it's
in
only
their costs.
yeah, it's super cheap.
And again, you don't have to background check your team,
Should.
but when you have youth working, especially, it's extremely important to know the staff that you have, know who's on your team, know what some of their past is, especially if it is legal troubles. I mean, a pretty obvious thing is you don't want a child predator
Mm-hmm.
or convicted or not
Yeah.
to be in the same room or the same building within or with your youth.
Right.
If you're running a charity haunt and you're running it at a school, probably a big deal to know that.
Yep.
There's maybe if you have somebody that got a DUI that comes in their background check, maybe you don't want them in a scene where they're completely isolated and they can kind of do whatever they want.
Right.
Maybe have a check and balance system. Never really good to have one actor alone in a room, anyways, especially if it's a youth. There are ways to circumvent that. You should have, or you can have 2 to 3 actors in a room. There are specific guidelines you can put in place with youth actors, but if it's all adults, at least put 2 to 3 in a room together so they can kind of balance out and have that accountability. Another thing they talked about was rising costs for music licensing. So the ASCAP and BMI. ASCAP is the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers. BMI is Broadcast Music Incorporated. They are bumping up the cost for music licensing each year. So a lot of haunts, including Dark Hour, are moving towards all custom music instead of Midnight Syndicate or others. So they're actually developing their own audio tracks. That was one of the things that Jake Farmer talked about during the audio class. Another thing that I hadn't thought about was marketing costs this year are going to skyrocket. It's 2024. Big thing that's coming at the end of this year is the election. I have not seen a ton of ads on our streaming services, but the few I have seen, I'm already over it.
Yep.
I can't stand election years. There's no good option. And because of that, that's what you're going to see in all the advertisements. So
Yeah.
when you're running a haunt, now you're competing with big payers to compete for those advertising slots. So just
point.
keep that in consideration, especially this year, that you may want to tailor your advertising to be outside of the realistic realm. So kind of take the Alan Hop's Dark Hour approach. Don't have the CNN haunt. Have the haunt that completely takes you out of reality. You know, maybe you have the Easter Bunny slaughter. Maybe you have the witches brewing a cauldron. You know, something that's not something you would see on the news. Make it very obviously fantasy based.
Right.
And that's all I've got for the state of the industry.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that synopsis,
My
Sean.
pleasure.
All right, so next class is the one I took by myself called Creating Colossal Creatures, Build Massive Props with Inexpensive Materials. This was done by Ryan Visengard, I think. He is an artist at Woods of Terror in Greensboro, North Carolina. So the summary of this is to make an impact, sometimes you need to take things to a colossal scale. Like many of the industry leaders, their haunts are adorned with overscale props, monsters, creatures, and other things that go bump in the night. This class is going to give you a crash course in colossal creature creation using what you already have laying around. Let Ryan take you through the ins and outs of his maddening process when creating colossal creatures for scenes and photo ops using the most rudimentary materials from discarded wood to rotting burlap and broken props. No material is unusable when creating colossal monstrosities. Guaranteed to get your creative brains oozing on how to use discarded materials to take your prop building to colossal heights. So, the big takeaways I've gotten out of this was you can pretty much use junk you have laying around your house, and we have a lot of junk. He also talked about dumpster diving. He used to dumpster dive a lot. He doesn't do that much anymore because of, he makes money now. So, and then also like going to a junkyard as well. Using a lot of Gorilla duct tape, latex, chicken wire, pool noodles, which we are pretty well in
We are
depth with.
stocked on pool noodles.
Yeah. Melted plastic can create really great creatures. Also,
and fumes.
Huh?
And fumes, melted plastic.
Yeah, definitely wear a mask when you're doing that. Sean, use protected wood and utilize old and broken props. So if you find like, or if Spirit Halloween or whatever, they have a broken prop, ask if you can like buy it or something for discounted.
But don't ask at Goodwill because they will not sell broken items.
Well, that's not necessarily true. So if it's like a safety issue.
So like a broken porcelain doll, they won't sell.
No, but if it's a broken prop, I mean, you don't really have to tell them it's broken.
That's true.
They probably don't know, or else they wouldn't have put it out on the floor.
True that.
But anyways, this is a lot of what, I mean, Wicked Makers doesn't use broken props, but they do kind of twist they take them apart and like redo them and to make them like better than what they were. And so that's, utilizing what you already have. Counterbalance is important. So the lighter the weight, the better you will be when making larger creatures. So we watched a Wicked Makers video about them making that, really...
They did a Five Nights at Freddy's Springtrap prop.
Yes, and their hat was way too heavy, and just like, you just have to like, you have to play with it, and yes, it could get frustrating, but...
Use materials that will help.
Right, exactly.
Not everything needs to be 3D printed or plastic.
Yeah, the lighter the weight, the better. Using 3 mil black plastic is easier to manipulate and stretch. Also, when you're putting the creature like in a corner or whatever, lighting and drapery matters. So the lighting effects of that creature bouncing off of like the paint and stuff like that is gonna matter. You can basically make a big creature, like I'm talking like pretty big, for as little as
pretty big.
So like, I don't know, maybe 7 foot.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he showed us pictures and stuff of what he's done. You can make a pretty large creature for as little as 150 in material. Just by using just stuff that you have laying around. You have to get, watch YouTube videos, but you can, you have to get creative with it, but it's definitely possible. This is what this class was all about. Also using Flex Seal, which is something we use pretty much, right?
No, I've never used Flex Seal.
Oh, okay.
I'm familiar with it, but that's really extensive.
Oh, it was Loctite foam is what we use.
Yeah, Loctite and Great Stuff we like.
Great Stuff. I'm using Loctite and Great Stuff. Also utilizing cosplay foam. I don't think we've...
That's like EVA foam.
Yeah.
We also follow Nerdforge. She uses a lot of that on her channel.
Yeah. Using jute netting for drapery.
What is jute netting?
So it's like a really thin netting. It kind of looks like... It's hard to explain.
Is it like the fabric we got from that Goodwill outlet thing?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Just like that. And using a heat gun with adjustable heat dial, so that you can adjust the heat on what you are, because you don't want to like overdo it too much. So, and when you do use latex, it will eventually wear off. So make sure if you are using it to cake it on and use a lot of it. It's
and
never
there's
too much.
Types of latex. There's mask pouring latex, and there's also like brush on latex type things.
Yeah. And using if you're going to be putting a base paint on it, you can use UV acrylic base paint, and that goes on top of the latex, and that will just help it secure it a little bit more. Also, knowing anatomy and human form will help a lot with knowing how to help position the body parts of the creature. So, just basic anatomy, like your hand and, your arm and, legs and stuff like that. So, Yeah, so that was a pretty cool class, learning about, just
That
little stuff
reminds me
like
of
that.
was it Hell's Gate or Netherworld where they have a big like outdoor walkthrough?
Up, time's up.
Well,
um, I don't know.
all right. I'll Google that
Okay.
in the break. Bye. We are back. I could not find the name of the haunted house that I was thinking of that has all of the outdoor queue with the huge creatures made out of wood and like scrap.
Oh, that's what you were looking for.
Yeah. I've watched it
Um,
behind the scenes and I feel like it was either Netherworld,
Nether
13th Gate.
Netherworld is like an indoor.
What about 13th Gate?
No, it's not 13th Gate.
What about Hell's Gate?
No.
I don't know. I
Anyways.
will figure it out. But that's
Okay.
what it reminds me of.
Mhm.
Um, so we will move on to the 8th class. This is one that I took by myself. It was called Foundations of Fear, Opening or Growing an Attraction in Today's Fast-Paced Business World. The speaker was Spencer Terry, president of HAA, GM equity owner at Fear Factory, Salt Lake City. Summary of this class is the haunted house industry is growing at incredible speeds. If you're thinking of opening an attraction, small or large, join Fear Factory GM equity owner and Haunted Attraction Association president Spencer Terry as he breaks down an accelerated, in-depth, and fast-paced seminar to review the nuts and bolts to developing and starting your haunted house business. From growth patterns to learning moments to secrets and tools that leverage great success, he'll cover many of the things that helped Fear Factory become what it is today and continues to plan ahead for the future. This served as one of the chaos safety certification classes, so 1 hour towards that. Also, because we don't yet have a profitable haunted attraction, I felt like this would give us kind of a leg up as to where do we even start. So, few of the takeaways that I got out of this. This is another one that I want to do its own class because there was so much information
You mean
that,
own
or its own
episode?
episode. Yep, whatever. Because there was so much episodes, so I'm going to kind of gloss over.
There was so much episode.
Apparently, I am crashing tonight.
I told you not to do this.
Yeah, well, we're too late. Too late. We're going for it. I'm going to gloss over the highlights. Man, I've got 2 of these back to back that I did by myself.
Oh god.
All right. So, number 1, location matters. Look at the competing market, the population, the foot traffic, the parking options, etc. We don't do this well. We are 30 minutes outside of Jacksonville. No foot traffic. If it is, most people try to shoot you because we're out in the sticks,
Yeah.
and most people don't just walk up. So just know what your market is, know how far people are willing to drive. If there are other attractions in your area, chances are they're likely to visit yours also. Know the difference between show business versus business show. It's kind of like student athletes versus athletic students or athlete
Yeah.
students.
That makes sense.
So you want to know that you are running a business. If it's not a nonprofit haunt, you want to be able to balance your financials with your creative drive and creative vision. So don't dream up all these things and go, we're just going to throw money at it until it works. Keep in mind that the financials do matter. They will impact whether you continue to be able to be creative in that industry. Also, don't choose between 2 things that you love. I feel fortunate that you like haunted attractions as much as I do and want to move forward in that industry.
Yeah.
If your partner is not with you, then they are against you. So if you were very anti-haunted attractions and I was very for them, I think it would be very difficult for me to move forward and
Agreed.
invest so much time personally into
Yeah.
it without us going it
I think that's
together.
with anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, running an attraction will not make you a millionaire, but it will consume your entire life and time. Whether it's a full time job or not,
Mm,
it will consume you.
I mean, you're owning a business at that point, so it's
Exactly. Yeah.
just business.
Big thing that I probably need to be reminded more often than not, don't let passion overcome common sense.
Yep.
Most 10-plus-year haunts and haunt owners still have day jobs. Um,
Sorry.
I know I would love nothing more
I
than
know.
to be a haunted attraction owner full time and just all day be creative and all that, but it's not
Yeah.
possible yet.
Oh yeah.
Um, Overall, safety trumps everything else in the business. We've talked about that to a very far extent with chaos certification and training classes, all about safety. That never goes away. Ways you can save costs is by keeping a similar storyline. So, again, to reference Dark Hour Haunted House in Texas with Alan Hops, they have a main theme
Mm-hmm.
that stays the same every year. What they do to keep it new and fresh is they will replace a few scenes, but they're all still witch related. So they just swap out different witches that maybe need some refresh.
Mm.
So it allows them to stay within the storyline, but also create new ideas, new stories, new characters without losing your audience and without investing in a new theme every year,
Right.
which is a huge capital expense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what you can do for marketing is you can trade tickets. So whether it be with a radio show, with different sponsors, trade tickets, trade merchandise. Tickets are virtually free in a way. You could do reduced cost tickets. You can. It's a really good way to market it in an atmosphere equivalent with advertising. So you don't necessarily have to spend capital expense. You can trade the experience for that. When you're hiring, overhire. Staff typically decreases as the season progresses, whether it be due to
Burnout.
burnout, injury. Uh, Maybe you have younger workers and they don't know what it means to have a job more than a few weeks. Maybe
Yeah.
they're just new to it. They don't know what the expectation is.
Mm-hmm.
Give an incentive. Give an incentive for returning staff each year. You know, respect the people that are supportive of you.
Jute knitting.
Oh, yeah. It's like a
Sorry.
sheer fabric type thing.
Yeah.
Um, Hiring EMTs can work as a double win
Oh.
because
Yeah.
if something
Safety.
medical happens, they're right there. They have that internal responsibility to act on that.
Mm-hmm.
Pay above
Hiring any EMT actors.
pay
That's
above
funny.
living wage. Passion and ethics are difficult to teach.
Yep.
Skills can absolutely be taught. So hire based on the person's passion, how they conduct themselves. If they're not a phenomenal actor, you can still find a place for them.
Right.
That doesn't remove them from the equation. You know, you can teach them to be a better actor. You can't necessarily teach someone as easily to show up on time and be respectful, be polite.
It's so true.
So keep that in mind. And when you are hiring and when you're gearing up for the next season, figuring out who to retain, who to bring back, who to remove, a corporate rule that I've never heard of is the 20-70-10 rule. Do you know what that is?
Mm-mm.
So it's 20% of your team will typically exceed expectations, 70% will meet expectations, and then 10% will fail expectations.
Mm.
So the 20-70-10 is the 20% that exceeds expectation needs to be rewarded. The 70% that meets expectation, you should train them. So get them up to that 20% mark. And then 10% that fails expectation, they're not, to say it bluntly, they're not worth training.
Mm-mm.
If they're not meeting the bare minimum, it really doesn't matter. Right. So remove them, the 10% that can't maintain that minimum.
Yeah.
You talked about it earlier. Don't just have training at the beginning of the season or preseason or the day of the first event.
Right.
have mid-season training, have those refresher courses, have effective leadership that kind of tiers down so that you don't have to be the one to give that training, that leadership always. You're not the only contact person. You can have managers and supervisors and team leads and things like that to help with your own workload. Um, Never stop marketing. Even if you're a seasonal haunt, that doesn't mean you can't impact your audience and connect with them year round. Gainesville Field Garden is kind of a pseudo year round haunt, but I feel like, never stop posting. They are phenomenal at marketing, in my opinion. When you're getting into the business, have not only an entry strategy, but also an exit strategy. So before you get into a haunt industry or haunted attraction build, how are you going to get out of it? What's your game plan if things go south? What is your game plan if you become super profitable? Do you want to sell? Do you want to be bought out? Do you, what is your lifelong plan?
Right.
And at the very least, start an LLC before you go too deep. That's something that we are looking into right now. Probably should have done it sooner, but until we have income coming in specifically for it, it's hard for me to rationalize the LLC side of things. But I think the route we're going, an LLC is going to be important moving forward.
Yeah, I agree.
And the last one, have you ever heard of WIF? WIIF?
No, but I could probably guess what it means.
What's your guess?
What if I fail?
No.
Oh.
What's in it for me?
Oh.
So
That was a good guess, though.
Oh, yeah, that was solid. I mean, you got most of the letters.
I got all of the letters.
What if I fail? Okay, yeah. I was thinking Wi-Fi when you said it, but whatever. You're right. Jeez, don't give me a look, gosh, girl. All right, so what's in it for me? So something they do at Fear Factory is their haunt or their top performers, they were taken on a cruise. A cruise. Not like, oh, we're going to do this like drinking cruise like for an hour this night. No. They went on like a 3-day cruise, their whole team.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what's in it for them? Are there scare badges? Do they get those mid-season or end of season? The Oscars. Do they get
bonuses,
incentives or bonuses? Yeah, for showing up every night of their shift. Fear Reach Scream Park does this really well. They have an incentive program for loyalty throughout the years, as well as being on time for all of your shifts that are scheduled.
Right. It's like any job. You want to have an incentive you have to work. So
right. But I want to know, what if I do better? What do I get? What's in it for me?
Right.
It's not just the haunt industry.
If I'm doing somebody else's job when they're supposed to be doing it, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
That's on the daily.
All right, so that's the end of that class.
Okay. I can go through mine really quick before
you want to go through yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Ooh, you have...
I know, but I'll go quick.
Woo, okay.
So, the class that I took is Cheap Scares That Won't Frighten Your Wallet. And this is kind of like the last one that I took. Just kind of like, just key things that you can utilize and do for your haunt that doesn't really cost a lot. So the person that did this was John Denley. He is the founder and president at Boneyard Productions International in Salem, Massachusetts. He also is the if you've ever been to Salem, they just recently, within the past few years, opened up the what was it called?
The Monster Museum.
The Monster Museum. Yep, he did that. So, so the summary is: when people enter your haunt, the first question is always, "Is it scary?" I have visited mega budget shows all over the world, and many fail on the scare factor. I'll tell you why. I'll show you how to turn your haunt into a scream machine. In this fast-paced and in-your-face seminar, you will learn the 13 greatest scares in your haunting industry and many bonus never scares never seen before. How to properly design your show to achieve maximum fright level. What really scares people and the psychology behind it. How to turn your actors into a terror team and get the most from your staff. Why certain scares fail and should be avoided. how to generate extra income from your haunt. The industry has changed. I'll show you how to stay ahead of the curve and how to out haunt your competition. So, some big takeaways from this was utilizing visibility, accessibility for your haunt, like having enough parking, utilizing your neighbors, making it family friendly, and also getting a space or renting a space or buying a space that has room for expansion. You also want to be at least a half a mile away from the highway for your distance. And you also want to ask yourself, who is your audience? So whether that be like teenagers, or is it, just the community in itself, you got to ask yourself that. Um, Also, turning actors into your terror team, so keeping them retained. We just talked about this with training, quality control, utilizing bonuses, giving away free stuff, and praising them with awards. Um, a few ideas that you can have that can be cheap to add to your haunt, if you have the space for it, is having like an oddities museum or a pumpkin museum, something like that. That could be low budget, if you have some stuff laying around, or do some research and just like pop up some oddity stuff.
They have
Go
some
thrifting.
vendors on the show floor that will provide carved pumpkins as like a
Yeah.
full huge walkthrough.
Oh yeah, yeah, I saw that. That was really cool.
So yeah, that would be really cool. We kind of started one with ours last year.
Yeah. And then you can like with the pumpkin museum, you can like if you go into a museum and you're like, oh, hey, what's this pumpkin for? Like you can also go from like the oldest pumpkins to like what we utilize today for pumpkin, something like
Do
that.
you know what the original jack-o'-lanterns were carved in?
No.
It was not pumpkins, it was turnips.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
Yep.
Oh, fun fact. So also utilizing food, concession, alcohol if your budget allows it. I know having an alcohol license is pretty hefty and it could get expensive for food and concessions. So maybe it's just like cheap stuff like bulk stuff like snacks or whatever. And having like VIP fast pass tickets. You can also have themed games. Another or a really good moneymaker is having a monster protection necklace. So basically that's like a necklace that you can buy, I don't know, say like add $5 to your ticket and you get this monster protection necklace. If you want to take a kid or something, that just lets the staff know or the actors know not to scare them as
I
easily or
think
as
13th
much.
floor did that this past year, but
They
they
do.
did it on a specific hour on like a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, there's
And it was like a
sensory.
glow stick.
Yeah.
That was
It's
it.
super cheap, yeah. And you can also do sensory. Um, for people that have really bad like sensory like autistic
Yeah,
children,
so no
if
strobe
they're
lights.
yeah,
Stuff
no
like
strobe
that.
lights, anything like that, you can have it like a monster free night or something like that. Just to gain more audience members
Yeah,
as
and it
well.
saves on casting or staffing costs that night as well for actors.
Yep. Utilizing photo ops, you can make super easy photo ops. Parking, um, rides and midway. Like you don't have to have this, but I mean, sometimes it just depends on who you know and what you have. You can add small things here and there. Having like a fortune teller as like a side thing, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Some scares that fail that he mentioned are opening out into paths. So like
So like if you have multiple
yeah,
paths or you don't know where to go,
yeah.
that's similar to a big no-no in haunted houses are dead ends.
Yep. Because where do you go? Like,
Right.
you don't want to backtrack.
If you have a guide to scare them back to the route they're going to, so like Leonard Pickle does that a
Yeah.
lot. But in general, it's
not
more of a safety hazard.
right. You want to have like a complete walkthrough.
Yeah.
Another one that fails is controversial. So we learned that. Not really fails. It just doesn't work as well.
You're losing a lot of audience.
You're losing a lot of audience. So like if it has anything to do with hurting children, abuse.
And we did not learn because of those concepts.
No.
We
So like
did
anything
ours
that
based on witchcraft.
yeah, so anything that attacks religion or morals or anything like that, try to stay away from that. Stick to like fantasy based themes.
Fantasy, not religion based at all.
Right. Don't put religion in it. I didn't I didn't want to do it after we talked about it, but we were in too far. So add cameras to your haunt. So this is also a good thing that we did, and you could also sell recordings of your group
Yeah.
if you want. If I think this would be easier if you were having like a night where it wasn't as busy, and you had one full group go in by themselves,
Yeah.
so that you're not buying somebody else's reaction, basically. You know what I mean?
hmm Yeah. Fear Garden in Gainesville, they
Oh,
kind of tested that out as a
yeah,
pilot last event, or at the main Halloween event last year. But you
yeah,
didn't have to pay for it. You just scanned the QR code,
yeah.
or scanned your wristband or something,
Yeah,
and
I
it
mean, you
was
don't, yeah, you
super
don't
simple.
have
It
to
was
pay
cool.
for it, but, if that's what you want to do, yeah, that's a good way to gain some more money, like $5 for a tape or whatever.
Yeah.
So different types of scares. I mean, just things that we've all talked about: startles, pneumatic, gross outs. Character plants are like a good one because like it's easy to like put a character's face in a plant and it just be sitting there, and then all of a sudden the plant just pops out.
Oh, that's
You
cool.
know,
I didn't think about that.
mm-hmm.
That's neat.
Using psychological scares, so phobias,
hmm
which we're going to talk about soon. False endings. I thought that was a really good one because of the one that we talked about in what was it?
Was it Halloween Horror
No, no,
Nights?
no, no, no. The elevator at Haunted Adventure Ripley's. At
Oh
the
yeah,
end,
yeah, yeah.
we thought it was done. Well, actually, we forgot. We didn't say that it was, what it was. But anyways, they
Yeah,
had
they
a
have a
false
false
ending.
ending. Really well. The one thing they did really well.
Yeah. Having line scares, so people just popping out of nowhere. 13th floor does this really well.
hmm
And pre-apprehension, so just making them like kind of hyper aware of like, ooh, I could get scared at any time. Having slap down, so anything that's loud and fast, that's gonna scare you really easily. Gravity is free, so utilizing pulley drops. So like for instance, if you have a hayride, you're on a hayride or whatever, everything's, oh, let me look at everything, and then all of a sudden a billboard drops down.
That reminds me of Twister.
Yeah, and it scares you like really bad because it's loud and you're not expecting it.
Yeah,
That's.
that's cool.
Yeah. Having fake body reveals. So like if you have a coffin and you have a dead body in there, and then it all of a sudden just like pops up. That's a good one. Walking through objects, so stuff in face, um, or if you're like walking through body bags, that's typical.
Yeah,
Or like
sleeping
walking
bags, body
through,
bags, beehives.
yeah, clothes, which I hate because it's nasty, but
Yeah,
it's a good thing because it covers
your senses.
your
Yeah,
senses. Change your haunt every year. This is not very necessary. You really only need to change minor elements because most people will only really remember the first thing they experience and the last thing they experience. So, yeah, that's pretty much the basics of cheap scares that won't frighten your wallet. Just adding like little things here and there make a huge difference.
yeah. So I am going to save our or my favorite class,
Mm-hmm.
the super scare step by step,
Mm-hmm.
until the next section. So for
Okay.
now, I'll go into the free exhibitor class
Mm-hmm.
that we both sat in on, show control with cogs. So the summary of this class is join the team from Clockwork Dog to learn about their product, Cogs, a hardware and software platform designed specifically for the demands of modern interactive experiences such as escape rooms, haunted houses, and immersive theater. Clockwork Dog started out in the escape room industry in 2016, designing and running their own award winning escape rooms, before deciding to focus all of their energy on developing COGS, the show control system they created to run their own experiences, and which now runs shows like Saw the Escape Experience and Monopoly Life Sized. They'll talk through the history of COGS, leading up to the recent release of COGS 5, which brings a host of new features, including the ability to control wireless devices, such as smart bulbs and smart plugs. This is a great opportunity to learn more about COGS and how it can help you push the boundaries and create the live experiences of tomorrow. So, the speaker of this class was Tom Dixon. He is the co founder, director of Clockwork Dog. They are based in the UK. Um, So, like it said, Cogs is more of the hardware software platform that they've developed. They started off doing pop up escape rooms. It wasn't a great business model for them or for their area. They were successful at it, but more so when they got into the fully built out rooms that they didn't have to keep resetting up for pop up events. So the COGS software started in 2018.
I have a question.
Mhm.
What does COGS stand for?
I don't know. Do you know?
No, I have no idea.
So their company name is Clockwork Dog.
I tried to figure it out and I have no idea.
I think it's more of like cogs, like in a clock. So it's like the behind the scenes, what's actually running
Hmm.
the product. But I'm not sure. I'm sure you could probably look it up.
Okay.
Clockwork Dog. Um, so COG's first iteration of the software was started in 2018, and it really only included the bare bones. So it was basic show controls. Um, they had basic scene setup, game master readouts, buttons, and then a timer. This year they released COGS 5, and it includes integration with Zigbee, DMX, MIDI, TCP, UDP, remote access, and it's a true DIY setup. So in previous iterations, COGS actually had to work with your team to develop the software package specific to your escape room. They've since made that completely in the user interface so that you can develop all of your scenes, your puzzles, your everything. They've also changed some of their verbiage because they're not just using this for escape rooms anymore. Like they said, they use it in immersive theater. So they have changed the verbiage from games to shows and then puzzles to scenes. So it's a little more of a universal communication. It also uses if then otherwise logic, which it didn't initially. It also includes auto nudges and hints based on timing. So if your group is a little slower and maybe you need some more hints, but somebody in the group is not so keen on using those hints because they feel like it's cheating or whatever, escape games are made to be fun. So use the hints when they're allowed. This actually has that built in to be like, hey, your group's a little, off track. They're a little slower. You need to kind of push them into using a hint. So that's really cool. They also have self-resetting mechanics. So click of a button, you can reset all of the mechanisms that aren't manual locks or things like that, that obviously a software and hardware can't necessarily reset. And then one of their big new things is it can work with custom touchscreen content. So I really want to use this in our mobile haunt concept because I want people to be able to choose their own experience and then for us to get kind of a feedback report of what that was, how quickly they chose it, use those stats to deliver them the show that we want to based on their selections. Also, while you were talking about your class, I figured out what haunt it was that utilizes a lot of outdoor DIY, like huge creatures. And it was Haunted Overload
Oh, okay, yeah.
in Lee, New Hampshire. They started off as a home haunt. When they went commercial, they kept a lot of the big outdoor scenes that they had developed from tree limbs and just DIY, like nature materials
Yeah.
that they didn't necessarily have to buy.
This is really frustrating me because the only thing I can find is cost of goods and services. But I know that that's probably not it. Nowhere on their site does it say where they got the name Cogs from, but it's Clockwork Dog.
I don't know. That's weird.
I don't know why that makes me mad, but it does.
I don't either. I mean, it's Clockwork Dog, so take the C from Clockwork and then Ogs. I don't know. I don't think it's crazy.
Clockwork Dogs, Cogs, I guess.
I don't know why that irritates you so much.
People from the UK are weird.
They are part of the Themed Entertainment Association. That's cool.
Cool beans.
So that's all I've got. I feel like we take a break, and then when we come back, we will talk about the last class and our final biggest takeaways from the whole event.
All right,
cool?
Sounds good.
All right, see you soon.
See you soon.
And the final section. We are back.
Yay.
We've made it. You've hung with us.
Thanks.
One last class. So this one is kind of fun. It's Super Scares Step by Step.
Mm-hmm.
The speaker was Alan Hops. We've talked about him a million times now.
We have?
Yeah. He is
Totally
the
kidding.
owner of Dark Hour Haunted House in Plano, Texas. Also the owner of Stiltbeast Studios. Big hero of mine. Summary of this class is: break down the haunted attraction and let's make tweaks that will make your show scarier. From simple scares to psychological terror, we will talk about things that will instill terror and dread in your guests, including 15 scares that you can place right into your show regardless of theme. You will find gems in this class that will make this next season awesome. So we are not going to talk about all of these scares that he walked through. He went on a lot of different tangents, and there was a lot of cool ideas. We will probably talk about them scattered throughout future episodes. Probably not going to dedicate an entire episode on these 15 specific ones. But a few tidbits. We have a game at the end that we'll play. I think you said you had been preparing for it.
Oh, a little bit, yeah.
It is a game about phobias.
I'm
So I
excited.
will list the phobia and you will try to guess what it is they fear of.
Okay.
But until then, did you know that Alan Hops has previously worked at Terror on Church Street in Orlando?
I did know that.
Well, now everybody does. Have you heard of the Tesla water valve?
No.
Okay, so it's really hard to explain, but it's kind of like a multi-cycle feedback loop.
Does this have anything to do with, like, Tesla,
I mean, it was
Business?
developed by
Elon Musk?
Nikola Tesla.
I mean, Nikola. Oh, that Tesla.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the original, like what the car is named after, has nothing to do with Elon Musk. So a Tesla water valve is a specific type of kind of valve flow.
Mm-hmm.
So Alan Hops has that. It's kind of a standard flow layout. So that allows you to have boo holes specifically situated where they are coming from behind you to sneak up on you rather than coming at your face. Because
Oh,
what you don't want to do is you don't want people to jump backwards.
right.
You want to scare them into the direction that you're feeding people.
Mm-hmm.
So the Tesla water valve is a good layout of how to force flow through your house.
Gotcha.
So that was kind of cool. Look that up. Tesla water valve, really cool to see. And it makes a lot more sense visually than trying to verbally explain it.
Yeah.
False mirror. So this is not what we've seen at Halloween Horror Nights where somebody is hiding behind a static mirror. This is putting acrylic with a mirror film on a hinged door where the actor can see you, but you can't see them until they swing the door open and come out of that house facade or doorway or whatever. Also talked about laser vortex and line lasers. These are what most people hear as swamp lasers. Froggy Fogs makes them predominantly. You can use them. They have a spiral one that's like the vortex. They also have line lasers, which is what's used for swamps. You can also put them on the floor, maybe put them about a half inch off the floor, raise your baseboards along the perimeter of the room so that you're hiding where the laser terminates. Because basically it's clear until it hits its endpoint if you don't use any haze. So you can use that at people's feet, and then when you step, that's when the laser becomes visible. So it looks to the guest that you're tracking their feet with something super high tech, when in reality it's a couple of lasers in the room.
Oh.
So that's really easy, quick effect. The biggest cost and time portion of that is probably just raising the baseboards to match that. The room would look a little funny in full lighting, but in show lighting, it really doesn't look any out of the ordinary at all. He uses secret doors, so actually functioning doors instead of boo holes, so they're not just little hidden cavities or corners of the room, they're actual doors.
Mm-hmm.
Flash actors. So this is something that Halloween Horror Nights does really well. Arguably, most of their actors utilize this concept.
Yep.
So it's when you don't just have a pop out actor, but you have something that goes along with that. You have a triggered effect, typically an audio phrase, or they love crackling or cracking glass as one of their
Mm-hmm.
audio triggers or audio effects. They also have a big,
It's very predictable.
yes, they have a big lighting, um, either backlit or to showcase the actor, depending on what effect they're going for. So, flash actor, basically having audio and lighting along with the pop out actor. He talked about two pillars, which is the statue scare, especially if you can make your guest go between an actor and a statue. Um, they don't
Yeah.
want to, but they don't have a choice. So even if you don't get everybody, you're bound to get somebody in each group if you can space out your groups accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
I love statue scares. I think to me it's one of the most.
It is creepy.
Uh, it's the one that gets me the most. And we talked about a little bit about that in the darkness episode, where you can typically look at their feet because you can't always use their eyes because eyes are getting more and more realistic in props.
Mm-hmm.
So that's becoming way more difficult to pinpoint. A really, really cheap, probably the cheapest effect he talked about or scare was shadow people. So you don't necessarily have to have an actor in a low lit room to make your guest think there's an actor there. You can use a really light black, misty spray paint, just spray paint it on the wall. In low lighting, that's going to make you think there's somebody over there. So you're saving staffing costs. It's a
true.
really cheap effect. You wouldn't even use a full can of spray paint on that. You could probably get like 3 to 5 characters out of a single can. And I think at Home Depot it's what, like $3 for the cheapest spray paint. Have you ever heard of a clacker glove?
Nope.
CLACKER.
Nope.
Are you still with me? You still?
I'm hanging in there.
All right. So a clacker glove playground. It's a metal fingered glove, and so you would use it with metal props, and you're like clack, 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 clack.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So if you have a big like chain link fence and you have a metal glove, that metal on metal
I don't
kind
like
of clinging,
Nope.
use that with hanging pots and pans. It's super loud. It's super overstimulating. You don't like it, but it's very effective.
Yeah, I agree.
So make a clacker glove playground. Make everything in the scene as much as possible metal, so that they can go and do anything in that scene that they want. Everything is at their disposal to use as a prop. It's going to have a lot more wear and tear, so keep that into account as well when you are refreshing the scenes. Make it hold up and durable. A big thing that he talked about is when we go through haunted houses, we don't do it as much anymore, but we used to, like, when you would go with friends in high school, there was always that one friend that was always most susceptible to being scared. Would you and your friends like point to them and be like, scare them, scare them?
Yeah.
So you as a haunt actor can take that one of two ways. You can either go, no, I'm not going to scare them because they're not going to tell me how to scare somebody or when to scare somebody.
Yeah.
So that's probably the route most people take.
Yeah.
But really, that's a lose-lose. You don't get to scare somebody because you're choosing not to scare anybody in the group now. The friend that wants to be scared, paid to be scared, isn't being scared.
Right.
And then their friends that want to see somebody being scared don't get to
disappointed.
see.
Yeah.
So it's a lose-lose-lose. Whereas if you do scare the person in that group that everybody's pointing to, you get to scare somebody effectively. The person that wants to be scared gets scared. And then all the group or the friends in that group are happy because they got to help control the scare of their friend.
Right. So just
So
scare it.
win-win-win. Also, when people go through the haunt, we did this. We're really, really bad at this one. We will point to the boo holes, like the obvious ones,
I know.
and we'll go, "Oh, they're gonna pop out there."
You do
oh,
that.
You do that as well. Oh, you're gonna scare me, and then the girl giggled at the darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both bad
It's
at
a
this.
coping mechanism.
I know it is for me too. I like to talk to myself
Oh
during the
my
scares
gosh,
that I don't.
so annoying.
I'm trying to get better, but it doesn't make it easier. So, if somebody guesses at your scare spot, either one, if you can get to a different spot in the scene quick enough, scare them from the other spot. Or if you can't, what's the downside? You scare them from that spot. Not everybody in their group is thinking that you're going to scare them from there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't scare them when they point to your spot, then you have them go, well, that was a really good spot. Why didn't they scare me from there?
Yeah.
If you do scare them, then they go, cool, I was right. Just because they can guess a good scare spot doesn't mean they're a better haunt designer than you.
That's true.
Boo holes are not that difficult to guess at.
No.
So let your guests have fun. Let them be part of it. Let them feel like they had a small win.
Right.
Or maybe they only see one of your scares in that scene, but you know that there's 2 scare scenes and there's another actor.
Right.
Have a way to communicate with that other actor where I'm going to scare the guy because he expects it, but then as soon as he turns the corner, my friend's going to scare him. And then you actually did get him, and it's a win-win for him because he knew a scare was coming, but then he actually got scared with this follow-up.
Right.
So, I feel like I'm super losing you.
You are. I'm sorry. It's like,
So, do you want to play the phobia game?
yes.
All right. We'll start easy and we'll get harder.
Okay.
Claustrophobia.
Fear of enclosed spaces.
Okay. Arachnophobia.
Fear of spiders.
Hemophobia.
Fear of blood.
Yep. Homophobia. It's not on here, but when I was editing this, hemophobia autocorrected to homophobia, so I figured I'd ask it.
Scared of gay people?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Astrophobia.
Fear of astrological stars, planets.
No. Fear of thunder and lightning.
Oh. That was close.
Yeah, kinda. Cynophobia. CYN.
Give me a second.
3, 2,
Wait.
1.
Dogs, I don't know.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Entomophobia. ENTOMO phobia.
Entomophobia.
Think like entomology, which is the study of this.
Oh.
ENTOMO phobia. 3,
I don't know.
2, insects.
Oh, right.
Mesophobia. MYSO.
Mesophobia.
Jeez. It's not racist, I promise.
Not needles.
Think of like OCD.
Oh, okay. So germs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Germs and dirt.
Germs and dirt.
Agoraphobia.
Scared of the outside world. Or like leaving home.
Situations or places that might be difficult or embarrassing. So maybe.
Yeah.
Dentophobia.
Fear of the dentist.
Or dental procedures.
Whatever.
Ophidiophobia.
Ophidiophobia is...
OPHIDIO.
Ophelia.
Has nothing to do with that song, I promise.
It's not dogs. I already said dogs, right?
I already said dogs. Can't say dogs. Can't.
I forgot.
Snakes.
Snakes, duh.
Trypophobia.
Not trypanophobia. Trypophobia.
Trypophobia. Like when somebody sticks their foot out when you're walking by.
Is that needles?
No.
Oh.
It is clusters of small holes or bumps. That's what you have.
I have that.
Emetophobia. EMETO phobia. Emetophobia. I feel like I'm in a spelling bee.
Emetophobia.
3, 2, 1. Vomiting or seeing others vomit.
Yeah.
You also have that.
Yeah, I do.
Trypanophobia.
That's the fear of needles.
Yep, injections or needles.
Yep.
I think I kind of have that. Glossophobia.
Public speaking.
I definitely have that. Last one, I think. Nyctophobia.
I thought we already did that one.
Nope.
Nyctophobia.
3,
I don't know.
2, darkness or night.
Oh, right. You are scared of that.
Yep. Don't like the dark.
Man, I did so well when I did this last time.
I'm sure you did.
I'm too tired.
Now, our biggest takeaways from the event. We'll trade off.
Okay.
I learned more about AI and that it can be used as an asset if used responsibly, even by creatives. What about you?
I've already went through this. I felt right at home, and I loved every minute of it.
Good.
Even if my feet were about to fall off every day.
Yeah. I loved all the black t-shirts strolling around.
I think my favorite, most entertaining class was the Chaos Fire and Safety Seminar.
Yeah, that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I learned my big 2 takeaways were you can only plan so much before you need to start doing something.
Yeah.
I struggle with paralysis by analysis. I like to plan.
Yes.
Before I even take a step.
Yep.
So that was a big one for me, as
Good.
well
I'm
as
glad you learned that.
don't let passion overcome common sense.
Mm.
That's a big rule I need to be reminded of.
Yep.
What else you got?
I don't know. I just really liked meeting new people and networking. It was really cool to see like our celebrities that were in the industry.
Yeah.
I love that it was not as overwhelming as I thought it would be because it makes me want to go back.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, biggest takeaways I got were just it was really cool to learn about all the fire and safety, and I think that's a big thing that we're going to be taking back and putting that into account for our, what we want to do. So
yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
On the same token of networking, I did learn to be an extrovert selectively.
Mm-hmm.
I think I only had one moment of overwhelming anxiety.
When I wasn't with you?
Yeah, when you were in a class and I had to go on the show floor to find lunch.
Oh, I felt fine by myself.
So I found my lunch. I waited in a line for like half an hour.
I think I get more overstimulated when you're with me because I'm worrying about myself and you.
And I get more overstimulated by myself.
Because I calm you down.
So I'm not a calming presence for you?
Sometimes. No, you are. But I worry too much about you.
You worry about yourself.
I can't. I have to worry about everybody else.
So, I mean, I was fine. I went to the second floor after I got my lunch, and I sat in a corner and ate. So that I didn't have to talk to anybody. And I was relatively fine after that.
I mean, I didn't talk to anybody. Well, I went to some booths and bought some stuff.
I think for me, it was just like people in line were way more extroverted than I was. And they weren't even trying to talk to me.
Yeah.
There was just like 6 or 7 people in their group, and they were so loud and obnoxious that I was like,
there were 2,
I have to be away from them.
When I was in line for the corn dog. Oh, but that's another good takeaway.
The corn dogs in the Christmas section.
So freaking good.
Yeah, I got a sandwich.
Oh my god.
Because
I dream about those corn dogs.
I didn't get a corn dog because I didn't want to have to eat a corn dog in public.
Oh, I don't care.
But the sandwich was phenomenal, and it was cheaper than the corn dog, I think.
I don't care. Watch me eat a corn dog. I hope you enjoy it.
Jeez, that's not weird at all. Another thing I liked or I thought about was figure out what your current limits are and don't stop there, but figure out how to blow past them. Like learn how to overcome those limits.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No. I did learn. So what did we learn? So buy breakfast the day before and bring it with you to the convention or eat before you get there.
Especially if you're in classes.
Yes, especially if you're in classes so that you can eat while you're in class.
Yeah, they allow drinks. As long as you don't make like a big deal like I'm bringing in a whole pizza.
Right.
They're probably fine with it. There's no bag checks.
Also, if your hotel does have free breakfast, try to take advantage of it. I want to change our hotel for next year, but I don't think you'll let me.
I am not
Um,
convinced because if you get free breakfast at the hotel, everybody gets free breakfast at the
I know,
hotel.
but it's a buffet style, so it's not like it's, you know.
I didn't know that. That's good to know.
Yeah. So,
I thought it was like you go down and it serves you. I don't
oh,
know.
no, no, no,
I
no.
don't know what
That's,
I was thinking.
no, I don't know what you're talking
Sorry.
about. So also bring your own sodas and bottled water because everything at the
Yeah.
convention is pretty
Go to the
expensive.
grocery store as
Mm-hmm.
soon as you get checked in.
Yep. Yeah, don't go like every single night. Go once.
No, because they also close
They
at
close
like
super
8 or 9,
early. Yeah.
which is early for us now,
Yeah.
at least there.
Also bring a backpack or bag to hold all of your items. You are allowed to do that. I know a lot of
Yeah,
people are like, I can't, I don't, do I
you're
bring
gonna
a
pick
bag?
up
It's fine.
flyers and brochures for the simple reason that you want to pick up free stuff. We came home with probably 20, 25 stickers,
Yeah.
and we had no place for these stickers a week ago. Now
Now,
we put them on the what's that thing called?
a
Suitcase.
suitcase, a Samsonite suitcase that
Samsonite suitcase.
we are
Sorry.
using for our podcast equipment.
Yeah, whenever we travel to hotels and we want to record a podcast episode, we can put all of our equipment in there. Fits perfectly.
Yep.
And now it's themed.
Yep. Take frequent breaks. So go to the bathroom, sit down. They have tables, seating areas,
Yeah, they have
and
quiet
areas that you can go to, and just get away from all of the people for a little bit, and then refresh, and then go back out there.
Yeah.
Stay within walking distance to the convention. You probably don't want to drive and park every single day.
Nope.
Even if you do drive in and you park at the hotel, at least your car is going to be secured in a secured parking lot. Ish, yeah. So it's just easier to stay within walking distance.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes it a lot more, and if you have to go back to your room for like like during a class or whatever, I had like an hour and a half to just walk around and do whatever. So I
Mm-hmm.
actually went back to the room. Took me like
What?
5 minutes, and I got, I went to the bathroom, I got changed, refreshed a little bit, and then went back.
Yeah. And something that we did that we know not everybody can do for scheduling reasons, but we checked in the day before the
Mm-hmm.
convention. So the convention started Thursday and went to Sunday. We, to eliminate the crowds, we checked in Wednesday
Yeah.
and checked out Monday.
Yeah. I highly
Um,
recommend that.
That I think that was probably a big reason why we didn't have to stand in line to
Mm-hmm.
check into the hotel. We also checked in kind of early to the event itself because we had an early class.
Yep.
So the show floor wasn't open for like 3 more hours.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Try
it
to
was
stay
really
for
easy.
the entire length of time so you do have time to relax and
Yeah.
do other
And
things.
Sunday, you'll be able to get to the show floor with way less crowds.
Yes. For
Sunday
sure.
is a half day.
Mhm.
It's more so when people go in and pick up the
Pick
stuff
up
they
stuff.
bought.
Yeah.
It's not as chaotic as Saturday. I
Mm-mm.
would say Saturday's the craziest day,
Yeah.
followed by Friday.
Yeah. But
Then
be aware
Thursday, then
because
Sunday.
some people have already either started
Yeah,
like tearing
Thursday is a
down.
big buyer day.
Yes.
Sunday is, if you're here, great. If they don't have a line, they're going to start tearing down their booth.
Yeah. But yeah, so get there for, try to do other things like relax, have like just a relaxed day, like
Yeah.
go out and do some
Have
more
dinner
things.
away from walking distance. We go out for
Yeah.
dinner far enough to where you're not going to see a bunch of black t-shirts.
Yeah. Yeah, do some other things in St. Louis. Go see the Arch. Do
Go
some
to the
fun stuff.
zoo.
Go to the zoo.
Yeah.
And then you can still see everything on the show floor and even the Christmas show if you are, going to stay there for the long haul. So
Yeah.
I think we walked around and we were like, all right, I think we've seen everything. Good to go.
Yeah. The only booths that we kind of rushed past because we didn't feel a need to really stop too long were the makeup booths and the
yeah.
costumes.
Yeah, we're not like into that
We're
right
not.
now. So.
Yeah, we're a little ways away from that being a priority.
Yeah. So all right, that's pretty much it. That's all we got.
Other than TransWorld 2025,
Oh yeah.
the dates are announced. I believe that the hotels have not opened up the blocking for the TransWorld specific rates.
No, but if you do go onto their websites, it will say that it's sold out. That is probably because
For
TransWorld has
non-TransWorld rooms.
right. They've already blocked out
Hmm.
a lot of rooms. So
Yeah.
just keep checking their website and book as soon as possible if you want that rate. If you want to
Yep.
just book to book, then you can, but
Yeah.
you're not going to have that rate. But
So 2025, mark your calendars, February 27th through March the 2nd. We will hopefully be there.
God willing.
Yep. And
Yep.
that's all we got. Thank you
All right.
so much for sticking with us.
Yeah, thank you. If you have been to TransWorld, or if you have any questions, or have any questions about what we talked about, please let us know.
Yeah, we
We'd love to
love
talk to
all the
you
tips
about it.
from people that have been before.
Yes.
We are still very new to this game,
Yeah.
so we will learn
If we said
all we
anything
can.
wrong, or if we need correction on anything, please let us
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
We don't care. It's
No.
okay. You can tell us we're wrong. It's fine.
Yes, we want to learn. We want to get better at this.
Yep. All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.